to Greg, Duff and Lizzie on the other side of this back there.
$12 minutes out from race 7, the Yes, Yes, Yes Stakes, $1 million plus bonuses. One of 6 horses could take.
Barrier, you know, saving ground inside. We've been saying it all day. Might be the go, where he might just be caught if he wants to go forward. There's a
$10 Tone. It's into its second year. Hortbury on Her was brave in the Tab Everest.
Yeah, she went terrific, didn't she, Mardo? And she's one of the best mares in the country. A beautiful mare.
That brutal speed, she was terrific. So she's a lot harder in the...
And they're off and racing, and Prime Candidate jump well up on the outside of Eduardo. Man of Peace is being roused along, going between the pair, and Aubrey on Her will settle in fourth. Guitar out deep, Deprive up the fence. Mr. Seawolf hasn't got the speed of... Man of Peace went on with the job there. Eduardo handed up. Man of Peace has it now by length and a half to Eduardo. Aubrey on Her's got the fence and improving on the inside of Prime Candidate. 2 further back to the favourite Guitar, a length clear from Deprive. Then Mr. Seawolf from Imaging, and Star of the Seas 9 lengths away at the rear. Man of Peace at the 600 by 3/4 to Eduardo, is trucking along on the outside. Aubrey on Her locked up on the inner. Then Prime Candidate from Guitar, and further back then to Deprive Mr. Seawolf as they straighten up. Man of Peace just in front. Aubrey on Her take the inside run. Eduardo the outside. They're 3 clear from Guitar, who's starting to knuckle down to the task now. It's Aubrey on Her taking the lead. Aubrey on Her 2 lengths clear. Guitar's running home powerfully. Aubrey on Her 2 in front. Guitar's cutting back the margin. It's Aubrey on Her. Guitar, it's going to get desperate, and Guitar went home best. Guitar nailed Aubrey on Her to win it. In third position, I think, Imaging just in front of Eduardo. Then Man of Peace, Mr. Seawolf, Star of the Seas, a gap back to Deprive, and Prime Candidate, and the South Aussie's done it.
Oh, what a race. What a race. All the way down the home straight, the 2 Tab Everest runners, Hortbury on Her, this big chestnut. Jason Collett urges Guitar to the line, and he grabs her in the shadows of the post. Picks up a cheque of over $1.3 million, winning the Yes, Yes, Yes Stakes, beating...
The racehorse just over-raced a little bit the second horse, if you want to...
It's Aubrey on Her. Guitar, it's going to get desperate, and Guitar went home best. Guitar nailed Aubrey on Her to win it. In third position, I think, Imaging just...
That was the moment where you wish there was 20,000 people on course, because they would have lifted the roof. Contests like that don't come along every day, and for Hortbury on Her...
Very exciting. Yeah, that was. She was home when she got through there and dashed, and he's just a line chaser, that horse. He is a line chaser. And they've learnt a new trick through that brutally run Everest, because he's never been a horse that gets and sits back off the speed. He's always been up outside the lead, or just... It was just a beautiful ride. Everything went according to script, as it did with... Even though Hortbury on Her, if you want to, you know, pull it right apart, she may have just got a little keen and over-raced a little, but that's hardly an excuse. This horse will just chase anything down the mood he was in yesterday, and yeah, just look at his record. They're right. He just doesn't run a bad race. 22 starts, 10 wins, 11 placings, and at the top level for this most of his the second half of his career. Eduardo was okay. He was out of the Everest as well, maybe a little flat from him. So much about the others. It was all about the winner. All about the winner.
2 things to come out of the interview.
Gardens. Greg Radley is standing by. Greg, we've got the Iron Jack Golden Eagle coming up next, but you've got an update for us.
From our chopper shots, but they're going to start to walk down into the mounting yard now. Now, this is the heaviest pictures now as we switch out the front. The heaviest rain coming right now throughout the day. We have been so happy enough that there's no lightning involved, so the horses are being called down into the enclosure. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, runners will be in the yard for the $7.5 million Iron Jack Golden Eagle. Quite heavy rain falling here at Rosehill Gardens ahead of our big...
I was looking at, she's really going to enjoy this heavy track today. I think Bottega can run well at a big price, but Colette's my...
On looks, and I want to stick with that. Fun Star is the horse to beat. She ticked over nicely if everyone's on her, and the punter...
$80 over Ice Bath. What a go this has been all week. $31 at the start of the week is now the second favourite at $6.50. And...
Racing now, and missing the start, Creaderis, which has become a bad habit, and Reloaded's gone back to keep him company. Plenty going forward here. Riadini just thinking, and Fun Star put into it out wide, and Alligator Blood not too far away either. Dawn Passage right up in that leading division, followed by Sierra Sue. Flip moving into a more forward roll, followed by Bottega deeper out. Then came Brandenburg Colette over on the inside. All Saints Eve. Ice Bath is pushing through. Back in the field is Windstorm and the Black Cap coursing a bit. So Just Thinking pushes on. Fun Star got across into second. Riadini next. Dawn Passage going forward out 3 wide. Alligator Blood right behind them in 5th, followed then by Flit in the white cap. Over on the inside next, Sierra Sue from Bottega. Subpoena's very deep, trying to start a run as they come up to the home turn with Brandenburg, and they're followed by All Saints Eve as they come around the turn at Ice Bath, starting to improve. Sierra Sue takes an inside run. Sierra Sue to join Riadini. Dawn Passage gets going the outside. Then came Fun Star between them. Bottega trying to pick up from Flit Ice Bath. Brandenburg and Colette right down the outside. Sierra Sue on the rails. Down the middle of the track is Dawn Passage. And here comes Colette. Colette is winding up with a big run. Ice Bath going through the middle. Ice Bath and Colette. Ice Bath, Colette. They hit the line and Colette word out. Colette, I'd say, has just won the Golden Eagle from Ice Bath in a great finish. Dawn Passage third, then came All Saint Eve, followed up by Creadera, Sierra Sue, Emeralds, Bottega. Then came Flit. Further back to Superstorm from Subpoenaed, Brandenburg, Reloaded, Dawn Passage ahead of those, followed by Windstorm, Just Thinking, and Fun Star. It's a photo finish.
And we've got 2 young jockeys looking at each other, asking each other who has won and who has the biggest win of their career. Kobe Jennings on Colette, Tommy Sherry on Ice Bath. They're worlds apart, inside and outside. Here's the post. Outside Colette. Colette's won it. Number 13. Colette, the Oaks winner, the Mudlark. Kobe Jennings, this young man, has just won a $7.5 million race. James Cummings.
Short for her, but they backed me. Run the horse if you think she can run a big race, and she's ended up finding a way on a wet track that we'd hoped for. We got the solidly run race. We
on the and Colette, Ice Bath, Colette, they hit the line and Colette word out. Colette, I'd say, has just won the Golden Eagle from Ice Bath in a great finish. Dawn Passage third, then came All Saint Eve.
Riders.
Yep.
Fighting a big race out.
I don't think they both would have known. They're both, heads down, bums up. And they were just trying to get the best out of their horses. And I think Darren was the only one that knew the winner. I had no idea when they hit the line who had won that race. But to think Tommy Sherry, we're talking about Kobe, but what about Tommy Sherry, a 3-kilo claiming apprentice, getting an opportunity like that? And John.
$7.5 million in overall prize money, $4.1 million to the winner. 400
were good. Stewart's report, she was very, very unlucky. Look, I don't know whether it was too much. James Innes got suspended just about the 300 here. You'll see Bottega just roll in there and take he just stopped for half a stride.
The helicopter doesn't show it as dramatically.
No. So maybe you could make a case, considering the margin, that if everything would have went absolutely perfect for her and not much went wrong, that she might have won. So you can rule on the fact if you backed her or if you own her or your trainer or your rider. But you see the head-on, he was going to do something. He might want a drier track as well. Superstorm was good from a mile back late. The flop of the race was Funstar. She was awful, considering we all thought she was the best wet tracker there. She didn't do any work getting up outside the lead, but she'll go for a spell now and she'll keep... We know she's very...
Big Day is your favourite and clearly the best-backed runner with Sportsbet. Just on 70% of the turnover is with the favourite bouncing off that Caulfield Guineas gallop. Damien Lane from Gate 2 gets a gun run. But hello, have a look at Crosshaven. Can dictate terms out in front here. The stablemate, $4.80 into $3.90 now, $3.
1,600 metres, let the carnival begin. Away they go. And from the inside, Just a Tribute away fairly. Azar jumped well with Crosshaven. And from the deep in day end, but only 6 off the leader, Crosshaven. 650 metres to run. The leader is Crosshaven, followed by In Danger a length away. Then came Azar, the inner. Next in the field is Horrifying Deeper. Further back is Just a Tribute. Fender Bender, one of the widest, with So Let's Toast and Embolism held up at rear as they reach the 400 metres. Crosshaven now stoked up, led by a length and a half. Azar off its back. They were followed by In Danger, Horrifying, and down the outside, So Let's Toast. It's Crosshaven given its head at the 200, but Azar moves up boldly. It's Crosshaven and Azar, and they set two. Azar on the outside and Crosshaven, who won't give it in the shadows. Azar and Crosshaven. Crosshaven kicks and wins. Crosshaven beat Azar. 3 lengths of photo, Horrifying or In Danger. Then came Embolism, well back Just a Tribute, with also Fender Bender, and at the tail was So Let's Toast.
What an incredible preparation this horse has had. He cost $80,000 over at the Karaka yearling sales. He was underappreciated when he won an Exford plate at $9. He won the Guineas Prelude and then ran 4th in the Caulfield Guineas. Azar, the stablemate, was the one that the punters were really keen on, but Daniel Stackhouse knows what he's got underneath.
Horses can go to a much higher mark. The Guineas has rated high. Crosshaven's going to be winning more races, and I think Azar will too. I'm not sure. With regard to him over a mile now, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if it's his optimum distance.
So a similar profile to what we saw from Delasan last year, coming out of the Guineas, is a favoured choice in that race, but having drawn wide, endured a tough run, conceded weight as Crosshaven did and got the victory yesterday.
Start, she gets a dry track, 2,000. Punters are really zeroing in on the favourite Personal at $3. Victoria Key was very good behind Let's Make a Deal. It Ain't a Deal.
Right, Marto, and the wind has just started to pick up, and some of them just a little bit frizzy, but the favourite Personal looks...
1,000 metres, gates are back, and they're racing towards the outside. Salto Angel away only fairly, jumping well. Pensato straight to the lead from a wall of fillies. Tai Chi Goddess also driving through. Personal in the navy blue jacket. Mrs. Murphy the outside, agree fairway off the leader would be about 15 to 20. So as they reach the 850, it's Pensato kept them running and led by 3/4 of a length to Mrs. Murphy, 2.5 Tai Chi Goddess, a length and a half Agreeable, 4th the inside from Victoria Key. Personal in that clump of fillies as well. Then Proud Mary, tracked all the while by Salto Angel, who hooks deeper now around the turn. Agreeable runs up behind the leaders. Starrel in the middle of the pack is making up ground 2, followed by Lady Devereaux. It's Pensato the first to straighten at the 350. Tai Chi Goddess and Personal presenting, and Victoria Key on the outside. Tai Chi Goddess at the 250, claimed by Personal. Victoria Key's a little bit wayward. It's Personal just in front, but Tai Chi Goddess is kicking, and Victoria Key, it's a bitter battle, but Personal in the middle. She's just in front, but Victoria Key's got her. Victoria Key takes the lead, and an up-and-comer. Victoria Key won it by a neck. Personal, Tai Chi Goddess, and late for 4th from last was Miraval. Then came Salto Angel, Succeed Indeed, and Starrel. Next to finish Silhouette in company with Agreeable towards the back of the field.
This incredible spring for Jamie Carr continues. She was breathtaking on Cox Plate Day. She arrives at Flemington. She'd only had one winner on Cup Week in history. That was back.
Key started to lay in a bit from about the 200 to the 100. Jamie Carr got the whip across into the left hand. When she straightened her up, she just found another gear, and she was running away from Personal late. So a really interesting filly moving forward, because this is her first preparation, start 4. She's a Group 2 winner. So I've got to thank Suman Hedge, who found this filly at the Magic Millions 2 years ago. He put the
fastest version of this race, apart from Aristia's victory a couple of years
How
ago.
good was it to see Genuine Tempo, and they're a cream race to the top. A good win. I get
for the Tab Stakes, Quinny. Trackside, this is a Group 2 for $300,000.
It certainly is, Marto, and the wind has really picked up here at headquarters, as you can see.
2.90 on 9 a.m. this morning when we went to air with Insider Trade.
Last time he paraded at Flemington, he got himself a little bit warm in the yard, but...
To gallop, stalls are back and racing. Camel Passer, Banquo, the two best away with Bold Star. Order of Command behind those horses. They're keeping their lines early, and if anything, are drifting slightly towards the outside field advantage. So they're coming to the outside fence, the entire group. 700 to go. It's Camel Passer and Octane, followed by Order of Command. Banquo deeper, then Neighbourhood and Blazejowski behind the speed. Further back in the field is Bold Star, Coruscate. Out deeper on the track is Rich Charm and Last Tactical Advantage. Onto the course proper at the 450. It's last year's winner, Camel Passer, just in front of Octane and Order of Command. Blazejowski up the middle, followed by Neighbourhood running on. Banquo and Coruscate down the outside. A few hopes here. Camel Passer, 200 metres to go in front. Order of Command coming at it, then Blazejowski and Coruscate. Still Camel Passer just in front of Order of Command. Camel Passer from Order of Command. Camel Passer goes back to back. Beat Order of Command and Bold Star, then Neighbourhood. Next Blazejowski, Coruscate, followed by Banquo. Behind those Tactical Advantage, Octane just doesn't like 1200. And at the tail of the field, Rich Charm.
Well, Camel Passer goes back to back. He wins it last year with 53, goes up to 58.5 kilos. Craig Williams gets the absolute best out of him for Richard and Chantel Jolly and
Group 2 handicap. Camel Passer and Order of Command duked it out on the opening race on Derby Day in 2019, and here they run the Quinella in the third event of the 20. Like a really good performance in the Gilgai leading in on the heels of Zatori and Dollar for Dollar, who if they had have headed into this race yesterday, Samo would have been very much in the market.
He's just a really honest horse. He makes his own luck. He travels kindly in front, wet or dry. He's dead honest. He was there to be shot at that last little bit, but he was drawing away on the line. I could make excuses for Octane. I think it needs a faster tempo, and it certainly needs cover. It can't be out shooting the breeze. Yeah. It's not that type of horse. So.
Admire Robson, who SP'd at $10, but the rally has come for Admire Robson. Look at this, $6.50 into $4.40 with that
spot into the Lexus Melbourne Cup field. Who do you have winning?
Yeah, someone's dreams will come true after this. Look, I'm trusting the form from the Bart Cummings. I think that's the right...
His body clock's probably telling him that we're heading into winter, but certainly wouldn't know that looking at him in the yard. He is really bright, really well. Is actually quite tape.
A zero out the back with Ash Run after a few strides. The rest of them got away in a line. Cariff on the fence with Brimham Rock Sound and also Platinum Invader, and there's Hush Rider and Shabao wanting a piece of the action too. As they charge past the stands and out wide on the track, it's Hush Rider with Platinum Invader. They were followed by Sound, who's going to push up and almost lead on that first turn. Brimham Rocks to fourth, and then came Admire Rock Shabao. Ash Run not suited by the slow tempo, second last, a zero last. 900 metres to go. Hush Rider really stacking this field up. Led from Brimham Rocks, and they were followed by Sound and Platinum Invader. A length to Cariff, 50 inside of Admire Robson at the 750. Next Shabao, 7 off the lead. Future Score leaving the fence, a zero. Ash Run still last, tightly packed. Up around the turn at the 600 metres. It's Hush Rider in front from Brimham Rocks, Admire Robson. Right behind them, Sound and Platinum Invader. Cariff's going to continually hunt the fence. Future Score, Shabao to the middle, followed by a zero. Ash Run to the outside, the widest as they sprint up. 350 metres to go. Brimham Rocks up to Hush Rider. Admire Robson, Shabao. Ash Run's about to unleash, and Sound back to the inside. Brimham Rocks at the 200 with Sound and Ash Run. It's Brimham Rocks grabbed by Sound. Ash Run under the arches is still running on. Still Sound. Ash Run diving. Sound holding on. Ash Run comes at it, and Ash Run beats Sound. Ash Run has got up to beat Sound. Photo third. Future Score, Brimham Rocks, Cariff not far from those either. They were followed by Shabao, Admire Robson. Next in the field, a zero, Platinum Invader, and Hush Rider has finished last.
I reckon he's got it on the outside. Matty Hill's called the outside, and Andreas Voller has made the trip from Germany, sat in quarantine for 2 weeks, arrived just short of midnight last night, down in the car from Sydney, and he'll have a runner in the Lexus Melbourne Cup for Australian Bloodstock. What success they've had, and right on the...
Back in 2014 with Protectionist, this horse, Ash Run, drops from 61 down to 53 in Tuesday's big one, and no doubt will attract plenty of support as the Hotham Stakes.
And about the winner, Ash Run, Kieran McAvoy, Andreas Wooler is Richo.
Terrific performance. And for Kerrin Mac...
Horses prep leading towards the Melbourne Cup. A real fitness run, it has to be said, at Geelong when fourth to Still Prince in the Cup, but shouldering 61.5 kilos. Admittedly, there was only a 5.5 kilo spread in the weights, but still to shoulder it, take the victory, drops 8.5 kilos into Tuesday's Melbourne Cup.
I think they would have been happy to win at Geelong. I think it's just one of those things that, the sectionals weren't that strong. They were sort of 12 lengths slower to the 800 and they started to pick it up. So what that told me about this performance from Ash Run, it was a lot better than it looked on the day. The race wasn't... He'll run well, and Jamie Carr gave Sound a lovely ride. You've got a feel for connections as well, don't you? Well, look, the horse is flying.
So close.
And she got a good run. She had her opportunity aboard Sound and... unfortunately, was just touched off.
Yeah, so whether it's the Queen Elizabeth next Saturday or the Sandown Cup the following week, you feel like there's a consolation prize and a breakthrough win on Australian soil for Sound coming.
That's the thing. I mean, this preparation, every run from Sound has been really good. And he's run second now on 3 occasions.
One's coming up, the youngest of our Group 1s, the 33rd running of the Empire Rose Stakes. And Hutch, it's always a conundrum.
He just didn't settle into... Yes, well, Odeon went up favourite at $3.60. She's holding around that $3.50 mark, but it's all about Betty. After a win at Moonee Valley, the pros have got involved today as well. She maps really well, and she is now your new favourite. Look at this, $4.20, $3.80, $3.10, and now $3 clear-cut favourite. In Mystic Journey into $2.70, can you believe it, folks? And now twice as much money than we're holding on Odeon, your early favourite.
Set racing. She shall fly away fairly, jumping well out wide. Forbidden Love with also Felicia Chicafuerte, and Mystic Journey is nice and close as well. After 200 metres, the leader is Felicia with Chicafuerte pouring it on, and Forbidden Love just behind those horses. Shout the Bar from Mystic Journey and Odium. The two favourites travel together. Two for the Chicafuerte, the leader, approaching the 1,000 marker. 3/4 of a length, Forbidden Love. 2.5, Felicia. Third from Shout the Bar. A length and a half to the filly Odium, the outside of Mystic Journey. 2 lengths, Pretty Brazen and Asiago from Vanna Girl. Then Missile Mantra, She Shall Fly from Shayu, and Natoya last. 700 metres to run. Chicafuerte led, tries to get a breather before the turn, just in front of Forbidden Love. Then came Felicia the inside. Further back is Shout the Bar on one rein before the turn. Then Odium, Pretty Brazen, forced deeper. Mystic Journey runs up behind those, followed by Asiago. Then came Vanna Girl to the outside. Shayu, Missile Mantra, Chicafuerte at the 400 metres, and Forbidden Love together. Then Shout the Bar, Felicia Needs Room. Down the outside, Pretty Brazen, and Shayu is launching as well from Mystic Journey. Forbidden Love at the 200 metres. Shayu, Odium lifting the middle, and they were followed by Missile Mantra and Shout the Bar. It's Odium, Shout the Bar coming at Forbidden Love. Terrific go. Shout the Bar lifts and may have just won, but it's a photo. Shout the Bar, Odium possibly from Forbidden Love. Then we have Shayu prominent, not far away behind them, Asiago, Mystic Journey and Vanna Girl from Missile Mantra. Next in the field, Felicia, Pretty Brazen, Chicafuerte, She Shall Fly, and Natoya. It's a photo finish.
Oh, it's a driving go as Shout the Bar got her head down when it counts. She looks prominent, and then Odium has a late dive right on the line to put her nose down to be in contention. Oh, it's going to be close. Damien Oliver on the inside, and it's to the inside, and Ollie gets it. Damien Oliver and Gai Waterhouse, there's a combination that we've seen over the years. You think about Desert War, way back in the day, winning a McKinnon, and Ollie gets Shout the Bar in Francis Cook's colours.
But, and look, an unlucky... We never really got to see Mystic Journey. That was one of the sort of hard luck stories of the race, wasn't it? And Odium was very brave. It was good to see that 3-year-old form come through. Race ranked 3rd.
That's the thing. I mean, you can see her here, Kerrin McEvoy in the saddle. He's just not got nowhere to go when you need to be building momentum. She was trapped away. We know Betty hates to be cluttered up, so unfortunately we did not get to see her full potential yesterday.
Felicia Needs Room down the outside, Pretty Brazen, and Shayu is launching as well from Mystic Journey. Forbidden Love at the 200 metres. Shayu, Odium lifting the middle, and they were followed by Missile Mantra and Shout the Bar. It's Odium, Shout the Bar coming at Forbidden Love. Terrific go. Shout the Bar lifts and may have just won, but it's a photo.
There's always a collective element watching any race Missile Mantra is in for this panel that maybe today will be the day, but again, it wasn't. The runs amongst the place getters, superb efforts from both the 3-year-old fillies. It's become a genuine pattern in this race the last few years that the likes of Odium and Forbidden Love, who'd come through the Reginald Allen, head to this race. They were really game. And what about Shayu? Just its 5th career start, loomed up like the winner at the 100.
Hard photo to watch that again, but Matt Hill got it right, that's for sure. He lifted. And
she's done this before in the Vinery Stakes in the autumn. She beat Probability and Funstar, so that's now her 2nd Group 1 win. She's building a phenomenal CV, the daughter of not a single doubt. But I think it was just D. Oliver at his absolute best. He didn't want to go too early, and he just kept something there.
And this year, when we're building up towards the Coolmore Stud Stakes, Hutch, there's just so many question marks on some of the runners. 2nd of our Group 1s, the stallion making race, the Coolmore Stud Stakes.
Yes, and September Run, well, she went up favourite at $4.20, Richo, and she's been very solid throughout the market. She's holding around $4.40, but it was Farnan, $6 into $4.20 on a race day. That was the best backed, but he's now out to $4.80, and they've come for...
She's got a bounce in her step and she's really bright, but I thought that her Poseidon Stakes Parade was a touch better.
Do you have her on top?
I do. No, it doesn't. She still looks fit and well, as Jane said, so... can't look.
Putting Glenfiddich on front, and on top, I should say. Hopefully he finishes in front. I just think he is a really...
$4.40 against 2 colts next in the market. And it's Wild Ruler replacing Farnan now into $4.80. Farnan creeping out to $5 in the market. But that's where the money is. So...
Ready at the 1200 and away they go. Ranting got a squeeze shortly after the start. Flying Awards second last. Anders got a flyer. Led Glenfiddich and also Wild Ruler. Marmarican is driving up and Muntasira's not too far away. They're running up the middle of the track. 1,000 metres to go. It's Anders leading by 2 lengths. Glenfiddich extra time followed by Doubtland. Out deeper on the track is Marmarican leading that division. About 2 lengths in front of Muntasira. Also Farnan and Wild Ruler. They were followed by Holyfield, one of the widest, as Anders sped off into the lead and led by a couple of lengths onto the course proper. So with 650 metres to go, it's Anders, 2 lengths Marmarican. A gap Glenfiddich, Wild Ruler, Muntasira, followed by Farnan, Holyfield. Doubtland over on the far side from extra time. Swats that September Run. Flying Award a long way back with Ranting and our Playboy at the 300. It's Anders collared now by Wild Ruler in the middle. Wild Ruler swats that, and here's September Run letting down with Muntasira. September Run moves up and takes the lead at the clock tower, followed by Swats That, and they were followed by Wild Ruler. September Run driven out, and the filly is going to do it again down the straight. September Run wins. Photo second, Swats That or Wild Ruler, followed by Doubtland. Then Muntasira, our Playboy Marmarican. Further back Ranting, extra time, and Glenfiddich, Flying Award, Never Warm. Farnan well back, Holyfield, and towards the end was Anders, who went fast early.
What an exceptional filly she is. September Run. Craig Williams just knows her so... These fillies are certainly above average. The pace was set by Anders, and then it was a matter of who can come over the top, and it was September Run. Craig Williams teams up.
Up this Flemington Straight, Hutch. 5th filly from the last 15 versions to win the Coolmore. Sat quietly off heels at the 400, and it was a dominant 1 3/4 length win.
Yeah, there was decent speed in the race. Anders led up at a good tempo, particularly that second section, which is about 3 lengths inside of standard. But look, I think a lovely ride from Craig. It looks simple, doesn't it, straight racing, but...
Winner in Doubtland Gates 9, 12 and 14 run the top 3. Chris Waller. 4 of the last 8 Coolmores. Let's listen to the closing stage of Matt Hill's call.
Swats that, and here's September Run letting down with Muntasira. September Run moves up and takes the lead at the clock tower, followed by Swats That, and they were followed by Wild Ruler. September Run driven out, and the filly is going to do it again down the straight. September Run wins. Photo second, Swats That.
The programming of her campaign is the thing to dial into here. At the beginning, it perhaps looked like she was going to contest those Princess Series races, and I think quite quickly they went, well, she's probably not going to be able to match motors with the likes of Dame Giselle and Hungry Heart through that series. Came to Melbourne, and the win first up the straight, like she was...
Horses underperformed. Farnan was a really interesting runner because there was plenty of market support yesterday to suggest. Glenn Boss's reaction, however, suggested that he certainly felt the horse was a miss, particularly coming back to the mounting yard after the race. So there might be some vet queries about Farnan this morning that would... But September...
Our longest running classic race. Yes, it's been going longer than the Melbourne Cup. the 167th running of the 3-year-old endurance examination, the Victoria Derby, where the young...
Derby now, shall we mark it? And Young Verta is your favourite. He's been solid all the way through. I tell you, Cherry Tortoni's had really good support late, though, and he's rallying. There's only 10 cents between these two. Young Verta, 360. Cherry Tortoni, 370.
O'Brien and Damien Oliver will be hard to beat here with the Young Verta. Outside of that, hit the shot.
A colt that has paraded beautifully right the way through his campaign. He's really professional.
Tony has made it interesting, and they're now equal favourites, Young Verta and Cherry Tortoni. So $3.60 each too. This is a good go on Derby Day. Punters are thinking that he's electric turn of...
Door. They're racing in the Derby. Born to Succeed jumped away cleanly with Young Verta. Let's Carack a Deal. And Kenzan with that change of tactics is booting up on the inside to lead them. So at the judge, it's Kenzan from Let's Carack a Deal. Out 3 wide is Born to Succeed. 2 further back is Young Verta, who settles down on the outside of Wasaka as they leave the straight from Johnny Get Angry. Wertheimer next the shadow. Tour of Duty second last, and Cherry Tortoni is at the rear of the field. So Kenzan running some slow splits here. 1,000 metres to go, has stopped and started them. 3/4 of a length, Let's Carack a Deal. 2 lengths, Born to Succeed and Young Verta. Then came Johnny Get Angry, who's going to track the favourite wherever it goes. A length and a half away, Wasaka, Eldorado, Seshwayo, Wertheimer. Further back is Redwood Shadow, 8 off the lead from Hit the Shot. Then Token Spirit, Cherry Tortoni a long way back, and they were followed by Tour of Duty. They thunder around the turn in the Derby. It's Kenzan with Let's Carack a Deal. Young Verta presenting, Born to Succeed behind those. Johnny Get Angry's tanking up as well. And behind those horses, Wasaka, Eldorado, Wertheimer and Seshwayo. Young Verta at the 300 metres takes Let's Carack a Deal. Johnny Get Angry the outside. It's Young Verta and Johnny Get Angry stride for stride. Then Let's Carack a Deal and Cherry Tortoni from the back. Johnny Get Angry, 100 metres to go, and Young Verta. Johnny Get Angry is pulling clear. Hit the shot late, but Johnny Get Angry for an outstanding sporting double for Dennis Pagan. Won it by a length. Second Hit the Shot from Young Verta, and they were followed by Let's Carack a Deal, Token Spirit, Cherry Tortoni. Next in the field, Seshwayo, and then came Kenzan, Eldorado. Well back in the field then Wasaka, Tour of Duty, Wertheimer, Redwood Shadow. Cherry Tortoni pulls up quickly, and Born to Succeed at the tail of the field.
Absolutely brilliant. What a ride by Lockie King. Dennis Pagan has had so much faith in Lockie King, and so many gun jockeys have been desperate for this ride. And he's stuck with young Lachlan King, who's an apprentice, and he joins his dad on the honour roll with the Victoria Derby. And for Dennis Barol with the Victoria Derby. And for Dennis Pagan, he's only saddled up 12 runners. He saddles up a Derby runner, and it is a winner. He puts the blinkers on the grand final day, and that was a masterstroke. As Johnny Gets Angry, Dennis Pagan is an AFL Premiership coach, and he's a Group 1 Derby winning trainer. It's a double that'll...
And he did ride a great race, and Dennis Pagan, well, what a story. What a story. With Johnny Get Angry, who just trucked into the race, Nick, on the point of the turn. He had a lot of horse.
Had a trainer's licence at his age, having achieved so much in his career, and investing so much in buying staying stock, and then seeing a result like yesterday. I mean, you just got to bow to Dennis Pagan and say congratulations, well done. And how good is that for racing? The cut through that Dennis Pagan has outside of the racing community. He was the lead story on the ABC News last night. This is a Michelle Payne moment for racing in Victoria. Dennis Pagan should be just lauded for what he's done, and we should capitalise on what he can do for the industry.
Regardless on...
With a Group 1 victory at his 12th start as a trainer, 4th maiden to win this race in the last 30 years. Preferment, the last of them 6 years ago. First Group 1 victory, as we know, for Lockie King. It was just his second Group 1 ride. Dad Stephen, of course, won the Derby a couple of times, including on Star of the Realm back in 1991. But Hutch, significantly, the only recent Derby that was slower than this was Lion Tamer on a soft 6 back in 2010. They went treacle slow.
Incredible. 26, basically 26 lengths to the 800, slower than standard on a good track where they were running some very creditable times. I mean, yeah, so, and then it developed, so it was a race where you definitely wanted to be closer than etched into it, but as far as how the race rated, well, it did not rate well at all.
What do we make of where Young Verta was?
1.5 second furlongs at this point. Those horses that are back in the field, particularly Cherry Tortoni, who's last, and Hit the Shot, who's just a length or so ahead of him, they really had no chance. Once they straightened and the leaders just gave that little kick, they were so far off the speed, they didn't have any chance the way the race was run. So I'd love to...
The pace was against them.
Young Verta at the 300 metres takes Let's Caraca-Deal. Johnny Get Angry the outside. It's Young Verta and Johnny Get Angry stride for stride. Then Let's Caraca-Deal and Cherry Tortoni from the back. Johnny Get Angry, 100 metres to go, and Young Verta. Johnny Get Angry is pulling clear. Hit the shot late, but Johnny Get Angry for an outstanding sporting double for Dennis Pagan.
And cue emotional scenes. Dennis Pagan, perhaps the way we haven't seen him through a sporting career that's played out in the public eye, of course, as a two-time premiership winning coach of North Melbourne in the AFL, and Lockie King, as we know, an apprentice.
From there, he is an elite stayer. You know, his heart-lung capacity is enormous. We just got to find a suitable program for him, and who knows what happens from here.
Dennis, take us inside your...
you know, Johnny and Young Werther were sort of together, and I was trying to look back to see if Cherry Tortoni's coming, and then I saw Matt Kamani's horse, and I thought, oh, gee, we're in trouble here. But Johnny just found another leg and kept on going, and I think he probably, if it had gone a bit further, he probably would have won by a bit further.
And Dennis...
I never ever dreamed that I'd train a Derby winner. All I wanted to do when I get my licence was to have one runner at Flemington. That's all I wanted to do. I think I've had 12 runners, and probably 10 of them have been at Flemington, or 9 of them have been at Flemington. I can't...
Extremely honest and candid, Dennis Pagan. And Simo, racing at the moment, it feels like we've almost got companies dominating the sport, these really big stables that are running between various jurisdictions. Dennis Pagan had his first starter on the 4th of July this year. It was the 12th time he's put a saddle on a horse as an official trainer. It's a true underdog story, and racing does this like no other sport.
And he set the bar pretty low. Like in that interview, he said all he wanted to do in his career was train a runner at Flemington. And a few months after he's taken out his licence, he's trained the winner of the VRC Derby. I mean, that's just the stuff that dreams are made of. But to his credit, like, he's made Derby. I mean, that's just the stuff that dreams are made of. But to his credit, like, he's made the investment in these horses. You know, significant investment, going to the sales, developing them, putting in place the infrastructure. At enormous cost. So this is not just a casual throw at the stumps, I might become a horse trainer. Sounds like a good idea. Troy's been egging me on to do it for a while. This is a really considered plan that's taken a lot of capital to where he is today. So just a phenomenal achievement.
And it is a fierce behind the winner.
It's purely tempo related. Speaking to a lot of the Beaten Brigade, Matt Kamani, Patrick Payne with Hit the Shot and Cherry Tortoni, they just said they got too far back. They weren't able to blend into the race when they wanted to, and as a result, their horses have run really well. They just couldn't win based on how slow they were going to the 800-metre mark up front. Young Werther, of course, he was the favourite. He has run a really good race. He was entitled to do what he did, and Danny O'Brien was still absolutely thrilled with the horse's performance. He's only been beaten a short margin there at his 3rd start, so plenty of upside still with Young Werther.
So that the market's saying yes, he's been found. $11 into $9.50 from 16 when we opened up. And Yulong Prince Hutchie, well, you're in a point. $10 there from $11. 50 stars. Coody at the top, he's out to 14. And then Specking for Cascadian. He gets back and he needs a lot of luck. That's the type of race it is. It's a handicap mile. Get your bets on. Race
on top. I'm with nonconformists. I think Yulong Prince has got a winning chance. Might have a saver there.
I think nonconformist looks outstanding in the yard. As I said, I've actually been really positive about the way he's paraded right the way through.
The field, Mr. Quickie. It's a very open Cantala this year. He's been rock solid right through the market, but punters are happy to back a number of horses. So I think the top 4 from what we...
Set to run, gates crash, and the big field on its journey. I Am Superman from barrier number 1 jumped away pretty well. Buffalo River shows out early with Chief Ironside. Rock just behind them from the deep streets of Avalon. And also Age of Chivalry come over. Then Nonconformist just ahead of midfield from the Velvet leader. By a length, Age of Chivalry as they reach the 1,000 marker. Further back in the field then, 3/4 of a length away, Chief Ironside, Streets of Avalon, 2 lengths, I Am Superman, Olmedo. They were followed by Rock on the outside of the Velvet King. Out deeper on the track is Nonconformist. Then Yulong Prince, King's Legacy, Wild Planet, well back, Best of Days, 50 stars. Mr. Quickie's back to second last. And at the end of the field, field, Cascadian. So it's Buffalo River is going to try and break their hearts and run them into the ground. Led by 2 lengths, Age of Chivalry, followed by Chief Ironside, Streets of Avalon, I Am Superman, Olmedo as they string right out. Then the Velvet King, and behind those Wild Planet, Rock, Yalong Prince, Nonconformist, Buffalo River with Age of Chivalry moving up on the outside now. Age of Chivalry up to Buffalo River. Now Streets of Avalon, Chief Ironside, Olmedo and Yalong Prince down the outside, and from the back Cascadian. Age of Chivalry in front, 100 to go, getting tired. Yalong Prince, Cascadian, 50 Stars are sweeping home. Yalong Prince takes the lead. Cascadian diving. Yalong Prince beat Cascadian Rock, Age of Chivalry, followed by 50 Stars. Next Olmedo, Nonconformist, I Am Superman from Streets of Avalon. Then Best of Days. Further back in the field, Wild Planet, Buffalo River. It was a brutal test. Then came Mr. Quickie. King's Legacy. Well back in the field was the Velvet King, and at the tail, at least one of the last, Chief Ironside.
A Group 1 winner in South Africa. He becomes a Group 1 winner in Australia. And Yulong Prince at 11.10 and 370 delivers the goods for Chris Wallow, who gets another Group 1. So 2 Group 1s out of the 4 today. Just defeats Cascadian for Damien Oliver, who has sprouted.
Only win in 14 Australian starts prior to yesterday. Ran superbly in the lead-up. Second in the Chelmsford, 4th in the Epsom, which is often the pointer to the Cantala. What about Cascadian, Hutch? Second after 3rd in this race last year, steaming home in the 4th best last 600.
Yeah, a few of the boys I did the show with yesterday were pretty happy it was Cascadian chasing Yulong Prince, I can assure you that. But this race, Cascadian chasing Yulong Prince, I can assure you that. But this race ranked #1 according to the daily sectionals. It was a very solid speed set, 3.5 lengths the first section, and then from the 8 to the 4 was where Craig Williams really ramped it up on Buffalo River. Just a lazy 8 lengths faster than standard. A brave win. A superb...
The back Cascadian, Age of Chivalry in front, 100 to go, getting tired. Yalong Prince, Cascadian, 50 Stars are sweeping home. Yalong Prince takes the lead. Cascadian diving. Yalong Prince beat Cascadian Rock, Age of Chivalry.
Hutch, I was interested to see in post-race that Yulong Prince has been nominated for a Hong Kong mile. Can he be competitive?
In the mile, he'll... they're pretty strong in the mile ranks at the moment.
Where's Golden 60 head international day?
I think the mile,
yeah.
and I think he'd be very hard to beat, even though this race rank...
Head to Tuesday afternoon, so no Sunday play for us, so to speak. Let's have a look at the field of 24 that will head towards that famous starting position at the top of the straight on Tuesday afternoon. Anthony Van Dyke needing to create some history, shouldering 58.5 kilos, and it's really...
One from the yard, a lot more difficult, Tiger Moth, which is on the next page, but barrier draws have been kind of surprise baby. Gate 7, Craig Williams, we saw him when he left the course yesterday, had a smile from ear to ear, and it wasn't just because of...
I haven't finalised everything as yet, but I'm sticking with Very Elegant. Very Elegant, Russian Camelot, Prince at the peak of their powers, so you can have 7 or 8 picks and still miss. It's one of the best Melbourne Cups that I've ever seen.
Hutch, you haven't really gone through it. My surprise baby's going to be very high up in my selections, as is Per. And Tiger Moth, I think, has to be in the mix somewhere, but I agree with what Mike said. I mean, it's a very open contest, and I'll be...
Loaded, but you're going to have to wait, of course, straight after this.
I'm siding with Prince of Arran. I think the setup is perfect. Charlie Fellows has noted that this horse has typically had its best run at its second start in its previous Australian preps, and this time he's been able to bring...
Monday, Tuesday, all the way through the week. For Melbourne Cup week, it's going to be fantastic. 29 degrees, the Weather Bureau forecasting, and at the moment we look like we're in for a great day of racing. Now, well, Twilight Payment is another very interesting runner. He comes here with good form, and he's a dry tracker, Carl.
He does, and this time last week he was my own top selection, and now he's somehow outside the 4. If he wins, I'll be kicking myself. And the reason being is purely his European form's fantastic. It's faultless. He's had the 18 months of acclimatisation with Joseph O'Brien, like Master of Reality had last year. The worry for me is he lacks a turn of foot, and I just feel that he'll be up on the pace, and when they sort of go 4, 5, 6 wide in the bend, I think they just might slide up around him and put him away, and that's my fear with Twilight Payment.
I think it's a really great point that you raised there, and I think it's why he's not as well suited coming to at Flemington on Tuesday than what he may have been in some of the races. He's been running so well in this preparation, so I like the fact he can put himself on speed. I love his recent form, but that lack of a turn of foot, I think, is a great point from Carl.
Carl, he comes into the Melbourne Cup at only his 5th run, having won a maiden just 3 runs ago. He's ridden by one of the best riders we have in distance races in Kieran McAvoy, who knows all about Melbourne.
He arguably could have won an Irish Derby. And his last start win was very, very good. He seems to have that right blend of speed and stamina. This is his last start win back in September 12 in the Kingston Stakes, and it was a very, very impressive performance. I mean, it was put on for him. There was 3 sort of on-pace runners who collapsed, and he put them away quite easily.
What's his makeup like, Carl? When you've seen him at Werribee, what sort of horse is he? Give us a guide to what we can expect when he presents on television.
He's got more. He looks a more athletic, speedy horse than more of a stamina, endurance performer. He does everything. Lead-up performances, I should say, have been excellent. The Feehan run was fantastic. The Turnbull run, strong through the line. Finch, and Tiger Moth, I don't know how he does it, but I'm sure he will figure somewhere in the finish. I somehow left out Twilight Payment, Master of Reality and Anthony Van Dyke, but geez, it's that sort of race, Terry.
It certainly is, mate.
The Cup's most successful owner, Lloyd Williams, searching for a record 7th Cup with Irish Imports Master of Reality and Twilight Payment. Another Cup win will deliver Lloyd 50 career Group 1s.
650, your favourite, Tiger Moth, at just his 5th start in the Melbourne Cup, and he's very popular, in particular with the professional punters that bet with Sportsbet since markets opened. He was very popular at $6.50, but it's Surprise Baby who dominates the turnover. So he is $8 into $7 on Cup Day, and that is a big shift. Next in turnover would
be 4 horses winners in my betting on this race. The top is Tiger Moth. I've got Surprise Baby in there. I'm not...
12 months ago, and he hasn't disappointed me again today. He wanders around the yard like a panther. He is impeccably presented. I just could not find...
Sportsbet with you having your bet. $6.50 each of 2. Surprise Baby. Well, Australia's got around their horse here. Surprise Baby, equal favourite now with Tiger Moth in the Melbourne Cup. We've taken a $20,000 bet.
Gates crash, and they're racing in the Melbourne Cup. A pretty good line away too. Ash Run immediately snicks back to the end with Sir Dragonet. Vow and Declare jumped well with Twilight Payment, Ocean X. Not too far away, Russian Camelot, and also driving through as Master of Reality. Finch is in the leading division. After the first 250 metres, it's Finch and Vow and Declare. Anthony Van Dyke is nice and close in the pink jacket over on the far side. Master of Reality makes a line of 4. Twilight Payment now a line of 5. Behind those, Tiger Moth is forcing forward the Irish horse, followed by Ocean X, and next in the field is Etta James, caught deep from Warning, and the Chosen One. Next is Prince of Arran, Stratum Albion, Russian Camelot from Miami Bound, Persan, Steel Prince, Surprise Baby, Very Elegant. Give them a cheer, Australia, wherever you're viewing or listening. And they were followed by, along the inside, Sir Dragonet. Well back in the field is Mustajir from Ash Run, Dashing Willoughby, and at the tail of the field is Avilius. Out of the straight with 2,200 metres to go, and the leader is Twilight Payment. Bowls out 2 lengths to Tiger Moth. Vow and Declare third the inside, and forcing on is Ocean X. One off the fence, Master of Reality, followed by Etta James. Anthony Van Dyke is next the inside of Finch. A length and a half, the Chosen One, followed by Warning. Prince of Arran getting a cushy sit next the inside midfield from Stratum Albion. A length and a half, Miami Bound and Russian Camelot from Steel Prince, and next in the field is Surprise Baby, would spot the leader about 15. 2 lengths Sir Dragonet, Persan from Very Elegant. Then came Ash Run, Mustajir, Dashing Willoughby second last, and Avilius is last. So the leader is Twilight Payment at an even speed in the Cup with 1,400 metres to go, led by a length and a half. Second is Finch, and third is Tiger Moth. They were followed by Etta James. 2 lengths Vow and Declare and Ocean X. A length and a half, Master of Reality from Anthony Van Dyke. Then came Warning and the Chosen One as this field string out. 2 further back in the field, Prince of Arran and Stratum Albion at the 1,100 metres. Behind those is Russian Camelot as these leaders quicken and really string them out. With 1,000 metres to go, it's Twilight Payment by 2 lengths to Finch, and they're 6 lengths in front of Tiger Moth third, followed by Etta James. A couple of lengths, Ocean X and Vow and Declare. From Master of Reality, Anthony Van Dyke, Bowman feeling for the whip. Then came Warning, the Chosen One, Stratum Albion. Well back, Prince of Arran, Russian Camelot with 15 to make up from Miami Bound. Surprise Baby's about to get mobile. Then Steel Prince, Sir Dragonet, Persan, Very Very Elegant a long way back. Twilight Payments looking to pinch the cup. Comes around the turn at the 500 metres. 2 lengths in front of Finch, who battles away. 5 further back. Tiger Moth still coming from Sir Dragonet, Master of Reality. Down the outside, Russian Camelot. Twilight Payment at the 300 metres. Still 3 lengths Finch. Tiger Moth, the chosen one, running on with Russian Camelot and Persan. Twilight Payment tries to break their hearts. Tiger Moth wearing him down with the chosen one. It's Twilight Payment. Tiger Moth still trying to get there. Twilight Payment. What a ride, what a win in a cup we'll never forget. Has won it from Tiger Moth. And Prince of Arran third. For fourth photos, the chosen one, Persan from Very Elegant. And behind them, Sir Dragonet, Russian Camelot, Ash Run, Finch and Ocean X. Behind them, Miami Bound, Warning, Vow and Declare. Back in the field then, Etta James with Master of Reality, Surprise Baby, Steel Prince of Ilias, Dashing Willoughby, Stratum Albion. And pulling up at the 350-metre mark was Anthony Van Dyke.
An incredible cup. Somehow Lloyd Williams has done it again. He's won 7. Joseph O'Brien wins his second cup. And remarkably, Jai McNeil, this quality young man who was voted by his Victorian jockeys as the MVP last season. He's a new father and he's a Melbourne Cup winning jockey with a thrilling ride from the front. Twilight Payment wins. Tiger Moth ran out of his skin to run second. He was given the run of the race from Kerrin McAvoy. Prince of Arran, you are a marvel. You are the new Red Cadeau. You've run a placing yet again in the Melbourne Cup. And the chosen one shows that it wasn't a fluke in the Caulfield Cup. He has just nudged out Persan in for fourth.
And another international runs third. Again, the international domination continues.
3:17.34. How does that time compare? Were we with it seemed to the eye to be a truly run event. Was that the case, Nick?
Just around the lazy 20 lengths faster than the average for Melbourne Cups BZ. So this fast track here this afternoon really coming to fruition with the winning time of 3:17.34. But all honours to the comes to hand. But Twilight Payment's taken out the 2020 Melbourne Cup. Jai McNeil wins his first Melbourne Cup. A great story for him as well. He's had some ups and downs throughout the spring.
He's placed in 3 consecutive Melbourne Cups. That's a remarkable achievement. And, well, barrier 1 from the inside gate, she was on the... Jamie Carr was on the back of Anthony Van Dyke, and I'm not sure whether his trouble has hindered her chances of getting out and getting rolling.
It's feeling Melbourne Cup winning jockey.
Yeah, I got goosebumps, Richo. I'm overwhelmed with emotion at the moment, and yeah, it's a miracle.
Oh, it was a remarkable...
Positive, because he was a little bit slow into gear. He jumped with them, but he was a touch slow to really find his rhythm, and I encouraged him to go forward because that was the plan. And then he just found such a lovely tempo at the top. He got into a fantastic rhythm, breathing really well. And then it was a matter of just amping the tempo up at the right stage, and I'm just glad it all worked off.
Well, that amping the tempo up was
what Joseph wanted. He wanted me to be a step ahead of the field and really get them chasing, because what he sort of lacked in class, he really makes up for in his staying ability. So that was always the plan that Joseph expressed to me, and I'm glad it worked.
200 metres out.
Crossing the line in front, I've got I had goosebumps from then, and they're still here now.
I can imagine. You hit the line, and then does it...
Who holds off Tiger Moth and Prince of Arran, so a trifecta for the internationals. Twilight Payment ran 11th in this race last year, but admittedly Joseph O'Brien had only had the horse for a short period of time. They came here with a lot more confidence this year. He'd won a couple of real gutbusters at the Curragh in the lead-up before coming across. The fastest Melbourne Cup we've seen since Media Puzzle's victory in 2002. Jai McNeil's second Group 1. Of course, the other one was his victory aboard Kingswell Dream in the 2019 Turnbull. Joseph O'Brien, in his mid-20s, is now a dual Melbourne Cup winning trainer, of course, after the victory of Rekindling back in 2017. And a 7th Melbourne Cup for Lloyd Williams.
A lot of good stories, a lot of parts of that, all those facts you've just mentioned, brought him to the top. It was a well-rated ride. He was a deserved winner. Obviously, there's a bit to come out of the race.
And hard to find too many excuses for those back in the field, because, you know, Jai obviously went out with a plan that was to lead at a strong tempo. We haven't seen too many Melbourne Cups run at this sort of tempo in the last sort of 5 or 6 years. So full credit for him for taking the challenge up and running some really strong fractions all the way through the race. And you could tell from a fair way out when Finch started to feel the strain at about the 800-metre mark and was backpedalling, and Twilight Payment still had that kick left. You knew that he'd judged the ride perfectly. You know, Prince of Arran maybe
really spot on. I mean, he's literally got it spot on for that particular horse. With regard to Prince of Arran, gee, what can you say about this horse? Amazing. Jamie Carr, I'm sure, will be feeling, oh, that could have been my chance, but she'll get more. There's nothing more really she could have done. She just didn't quite get the breaks when she needed them, or the flow into the race, but that's what you get when you're up and out of trouble.
The Chosen One was enormous as well. I mean, reproduced that terrific run in the Caulfield Cup.
And Persan fifth as well.
Just doesn't stay 2 miles, but geez, he was brave. And Persan has had that form all the way through winter. Hutchie's been on his #1 cheerleader for his last few starts, and he ran exceptionally again.
Each way, nice 5th for me, but look, it was a good win, and well done to all concerned. It's a hard race to win, and Lloyd, 7 cups, what can you say?
There were 2 horses in the finish here that broke 12 seconds for their final furlong. One of those was Prince of Arran with the race fastest final 200. And just look at those red silks, Mike, of our girl. Very elegant. She was the other one.
She's so brave, isn't she?
She is a good horse. I don't know how many times we have to keep talking about it.
She's a champion. We've said that.
She just got way too far back. No fault of Mark Zara. It's a Melbourne Cup. You've got 23 horses contesting, and that's her racing pattern. But no doubt, in a strongly run 2 miles, she was one of the eye catchers for me.
Absolutely, and I think it gives Chris Waller.
She's on a wet track.
Surprise Baby. There was a huge plunge on Surprise Baby. He's almost started favourites like $12 into about $7.50 on the back of 2 runs in the Feehan Stakes and then the Turnbull Stakes. I know Lloyd Williams thought, you know, he wouldn't be a contender, that he had the wrong preparation going into the race. He was disappointing, I thought. Well beaten, I think 13th or 14th. Where to from here with Surprise Baby?
Well, not sure what, post-race, if there was an issue or not with him. Paul Prush could be the one, but there could have been an issue, who knows. But on face value, he was beaten fair and square, and not good enough.
This was a really strong test. Speaking to Connections afterwards, they're saying their horses gave their absolute all. And, you know, we don't really have a great profile yet as to everything that Surprise Baby likes and doesn't like. He's so lightly raced. We had only seen him in 3 starts for the entire year. But speaking to Paul Preusker, in the day afterwards, he was still quite perplexed as to why the horse performed that way. They're expecting clearly a lot more, but it might just be the fact, Mike, that you know, he has more of a reliance and an ability to quicken at a staying trip rather than the stamina of the likes of the first and the second horse.
Yeah, and there's nowhere to hide. When the races run at a brutal tempo, it exposes those that have been running in those lead-up races where they've been sit-and sprints, and the Turnbull Stakes was a classic example of that.
Race.
Well, I think last year they probably walked away if he can really
last year and this year's race were polar opposites in terms of the races were run, so that's a really good point.
So that's the good. The not so good was Anthony Van Dyke's fatal injury at the top of the straight in the Melbourne Cup, which continues what's been a really disappointing, to say the least, theme that's been established over the last few years. This is recent history in the Melbourne Cup, and it's the race that stops the nation. It transcends. It goes into the homes and the televisions and the hearts and minds in a lot of cases. It processes some better solutions, whether it's looking at Werribee, whether it's looking at the fact we had 3 of the 24 in the field only under the CT scanning protocols prior to the race as well, and obviously the entire vetting process that happens as well. There's so much to pick apart, but it needs to happen in the next 360-odd days, because we can't go into next year's Melbourne Cup with the same level of exposure or risk.
I mean, I totally agree and support all those comments, Nigel. It's, you know, if you look at Anthony Van Dyke, he'd run a fantastic second in the Caulfield Cup, so he's clearly come here as a very sound racehorse and has performed to his optimum. What's happened in the Melbourne Cup, I'm not sure that we'll know the answer in relation to that horse for a little while as yet, but having a fatality or 2 in every running of the Melbourne Cup is not an acceptable outcome. So I think that they take out of the race. I had a 20-second conversation with my next-door neighbour on the Wednesday morning after the Cup, and his only comment to me was, there was another death in the Melbourne Cup, what's going on?
It.
And it's a very hard question to answer to somebody who's outside the racing bubble, but when you reflect on it, you think, you know what, it's an unacceptable outcome.
And win the VRC Oaks. So the Kennedy Oaks is up next Here's the money.
$2. It got to $1.80 before. It's now $1.90 at the moment. Montefilia going to be very, very hard to beat over this distance. The two that the market has, I guess, come for outside of Montefilia certainly has been Personal. Personal was $6 this morning into $5.50 in the market. Trended towards
the Oaks Group 1 level, 2,500 metres.
Well, it's pretty hard to go past Montefilia for me. Flight Stakes win was outstanding. Backed it up in the Spring Champion, beating the boys. I love the way she just attacked.
I'm actually going with Personal on top. I questioned her last parade because she got so warm in the yard, but I think it's the best parade that I've seen from her this campaign. She was
still $1.90 last time we spoke, $1.85 now. Really solid in the market. Personal as well. Just spoke about Personal, $6.50 back to $6. Did open at $6, so it has held its quote. And Miraval
for the Kennedy Oaks. Gates are back and away they go. Taichi Goddess jumped well from 3 from Star of Eden. Vilankulu and also Hard Squeeze driving up. Montefilia searching for a nice position is 5th, 3 off the fence at the moment. And then came Biarchi the inside as they charge out of the straight. Next Salto Angel, Hard Squeeze around her, followed by Miraval, a length and a half away then to Personal. Art Glass, Swindon Lass succeed indeed last. Taichi Goddess making the sustained contest, and as they reach the 1100 metres led, followed by Vilankulu as the leader tries to get a breather mid-race. Biarchi 3rd and Montefilia every possible chance. 4th one off the fence and 3 off the lead. 2 lengths to Yatton, Star of Eden, Hard Squeeze, Miraval, then Art Glass. Next in the field, Salto Angel as the field is bunching. Then Cafe Rizu, Personal, a length and a half, succeed indeed. Swindon Lass last, 6.50 out. Taichi Goddess is looking to lead all of the way in the Kennedy Oaks. Led from Biarchi. Montefilia now out of the slipstream. 3 wide about to pounce. Behind them, Yatton, who's battling away from Miraval, who's right on the back of the favourite. And Salto Angel is tracking up as well into the straight at the 400. It is Biarchi and Taichi Goddess. Then Montefilia and Salto Angel joining in from Miraval. Personal to the outside from Cafe Rizu. Montefilia at the 250 lets down, but Salto Angel's going with her. Bowman goes for the whip. It's Montefilia and ex-Salto Angel and Personal running on. Montefilia on the inside, Salto Angel, Personal, Salto Angel, Personal. Personal takes the lead for Damien Oliver. His 6th Oaks, won by a length and a quarter. 2nd Salto Angel from Montefilia, and then came Miraval. It was a truly run Oaks and a great finish. A gap to Cafe Rizu, succeed indeed Biarchi. A long gap Yatton, Art Glass. There's some tired fillies. Hard Squeeze, Swindon Lass, a long gap Star of Eden, Taichi Goddess, and pulling up at the 200 metres just under the clock tower was Vilankulu, who hasn't finished the course.
Absolutely brilliant ride by Damien Oliver. He gets the best out of this filly. Jane Ivel was so taken by her in the yard and said she's finally peaking on her grand final day. A Fastnet Rock filly that cost $640,000 at Easter carries the Coolmore Navy to Group 1 glory today and does it for the Dabenig Hayes team, for Tom and Ben. They get their first Group 1 in their new partnership and they deserve all the success that comes their way.
Won by, of course, Personal for Dabenig and Hayes. Damien Oliver claims his 6th VRC Oaks. He's won the last 2, of course, aboard Miami Bound last year. First Group 1 for the Dabenig Hayes combination sends David, and the fastest Oaks since Arapaho Mrs. Victory back in 2007.
Interesting post-race, I thought, with the favourite, who was very short, obviously, Hugh Bowman, who got into a pretty good spot in the run. Close enough to a decent speed, but his comment basically post-race was he's got his doubts whether or not she saw the trip. Whether or not it was that, or that she'd had that gap between runs, out of 2 pretty hard runs in Sydney, time will tell. I'm not sure.
Almost a month between runs, whereas Personal had the benefit of...
To be a stellar edition of the race, I'm not sure. I think it rated pretty well, but look, you can only win against your opposition that you put up against in any given...
On the dam side, she's now proven that she can stay a mile and a half in a strong race, so I would have thought races like the ATC Oaks would be right up her alley.
It's fascinating, isn't it? You know, you've got horses in this race. For example, Salto Angel, Danny O'Brien's post-race.
And the strongest part of her race was the last 100 metres. I mean, it looked like it could go either way at the furlong pole, but at the end of the race, it was quite a soft win to Personal. So a fantastic ride by Damien Oliver, producing yet another exceptional performance on a staying horse in a Group 1 Classic.
Hashtag Ollie Special. Months earlier, there had been the comparisons, and admittedly, it's not drawing a longbow, but it may have been at the time that Personal had some Miss Finland-like qualities, and she was an adept 2-year-old and then made the step to win an Oaks. So we'll see what Personal can deliver, of course.
Because they're trying to go back-to-back with a terrific mare.
Well, David, True Self, she is the reigning winner of this race last year. Can she make it 2 wins in 2 starts in this race?
Yeah, we're very hopeful. Her work has been very...
8 horses in behind you in the Manning Yard, so positive signs for the Queen Elizabeth race 5. Pondus is the favourite. We put up $3.40 Wednesday afternoon into $2.10 this morning at 9 a.m, and that money has continued. $1.95 for Pondus. It was very good in a...
They're here today, but Pondus, I think he looks the horse to beat quite clearly. Do I want to take $1.95? Well, I think he's probably...
Not knocking him at all, a fine parade by him, but I'm with Shared Ambition. As I said, thought he had a peak at Moonee Valley last start.
From that $2.10 this morning at 9 a.m, back out to black figures, $2, but I think you're not going to get too much bigger than that about...
600, and away they go. Luna Flare goes back to the end with Scarlet Dream. Gallic Chieftain jumps sprightly with also Hackey, and they pair off early with LaDonda V searching over. Behind those True Self, Chapada and Credence, 3-length Scarlet Dream, Pondus, Luna Flare, Shared Ambition pulling last. Ambition, Gallic Chieftain, 1,000 metres to go. Led by a length, 2 in second, LaDonda V. If anything, the leader just got a shade quicker. Then came Hackey and Credence. A length True Self, Chapada, still no change. 2 lengths to Pondus, who's about to ease. And then came Scarlet Dream, Shared Ambition and Luna Flare. So they bunch coming up towards the corner. At the 650, it's Gallic Chieftain being nosed by LaDonda V. Hackey the inside, Credence out deeper. Further back in the field, running up behind those horses out wider, Chapada. Now Pondus making a looping run. It's the widest. Behind those True Self needing some room from Luna Flare, Shared Ambition, Scarlet Dream in a sprint to the post. Chapada moves up with Credence, LaDonda V. Gallic Chieftain fighting back at the 250 and Pondus the outside. Chapada led, followed by Credence, Pondus, LaDonda V. Still Chapada at the clock tower. Pondus and coming through True Self. True Self launching through with 100 metres to go. True Self takes the lead for Bowman and True Self has won it by a length. Pondus, Chapada, 4th Credence, then LaDonda V. Shared Ambition, Scarlet Dream, Luna Flare, 2nd last Hackey and Gallic Chieftain dropped out to finish last.
She goes back-to-back, True Self for Willie Mullins and Hugh Bowman. Hard to believe, 2 years in a row, she's missed out on being in the Melbourne Cup by 1 spot, and then we had a scratching, yet she didn't. There's no emergencies in the Melbourne Cup, so she couldn't get in. And she comes here and gets a consolation, and it's a big one. Huey Bowman gets another winner. He makes his way to 4 wins for the Carnival. And for
repeating in yesterday's Queen Elizabeth, True Self taking it out for Willie Mullins. Hugh Bowman aboard this year. So 25th in the Melbourne Cup order of entry when the field was finalised last Saturday. Didn't matter, gets a nice little consolation prize.
Yeah, they'll be, I don't know, bittersweet, the victory, I suppose, wouldn't it be for Mullins' team? And what a case knock down or lose their momentum to the extent that True Self did. Pick herself back up. Grace, what did you mention the final 200 was? It was in the top 10 of the day anyway, for the when it might have even been top 5 for True Self.
She's recorded the 25th fastest last 400. Clearly, she was
held up for half of it.
She was stopped in her tracks.
Going backwards.
Then her final furlong has ranked 2nd at 11.48. So in, the space of 50 metres.
An improved performance, but pretty hard to get off the canvas and do what she did. That was an exceptional performance. I thought Pondus was maybe a little bit flat. Like, he always looked like he was going to get there. He was going to get past Chapada, but he was going to be vulnerable to a horse with a sharp turn of foot. So, he was. It was a really good run, but probably not as strong as he was in the.
He needed his stamina to come into play, and it wasn't a race with a stamina, was it, in this year?
That's exactly right. When he was beaten by Princess Jenny, they were running off a stronger early tempo. So I think he was, as you said, Mike, just found something that was a lot sharper than him at the end of the 2,600 metres.
50 and Pondus the outside. Chapada led, followed by Credence, Pondus, LaDonda V. Still Chapada at the clock tower. Pondus and coming through True Self. True Self launching through with 100 metres to go. True Self takes the lead for Bowman and True Self has won it by a length. Pondus, Chapada, Fourth Freedom's
So
then
True
was
Self
on to be.
off a 6th length, 13th in the Caulfield Cup. Simo, nearly got a chance to bookend your week after the victory of Victoria Key. You've got a little slice of Pondus, and you were hoping that was going to be perhaps the saloon passage into next year's Melbourne Cup.
It probably would have been just enough to get him at the right rating to get into the Melbourne Cup next year, but alas, he'll probably have to win something to get into next year's Melbourne Cup. But big prize money and offer. I mean, there's an extra $200,000 bonus to the connections of True.
Oh, both horses are going really well.
Kingston Straight 6 at weight for age are the key ingredients of the Group 1 $1.5 million VRC Sprint Classic, resulting in Australia's nature strip in the race, coming through the Everest, and we know that the Everest is a terrific form reference in the last 3 years, so that's at the advantage of the likes of Bivouac and Nature Strip, and of course Santa Ana Lane. Tefane, she had issues going through that race, so keep that in mind. So
well, now Bivouac has cleared out, got into $3.10, as short as $2.80 probably around 10 minutes ago, now back out to $3 for Bivouac, but 3 times the amount of money bet in this race is on Bivouac. His peak figure was in the Newmarket, as mentioned earlier. He gets his chance up the straight with Glenn Boss. Nature Strip, well, he was $5 into $3.60 to win this race last year, where he dominated. He's now been $4.20. Hasn't really budged from that.
And look, I think there's been excuses in defeat so far this preparation, but he's a bit of a hit or miss type. Outside of that, the
top, he's got all the physical attributes of a very, very good sprinter. He's strong, he's powerful, he's really well built. His problem early in his career is that he just
got into around $2, $2.90, but now just at that $3 mark and holding his price. Nature Strip got to $4.20, $4.40. The market has come from Nature Strip. This is a positive sign. Now into $3.
And racing in the Sprint Classic, stand out away only fairly. Nature Strip out pretty well, beaten out by Bivouac and Fabergino, and Haydock got to 4th. Santa Ana Lane sits in 5th, only about 3 or 4 off the lead from Zutori Libertini. Behind those stand out and Graffer's last as they blast up the middle of the track. So it's Nature Strip rolling in front today by 3 lengths to Haydock. Fabergino towards the outer. Then came Tefane, and further back in the field was Zutori. Bivouac has the back of the grey mare Fabergino. Then Libertini, Graff, Santa Ana Lane, and last of all is Standout, heading towards the course proper with 550 metres to go. It's Nature Strip held together by 2 lengths. Haydock, Fabergino, Zutori, Tefane. Then came Bivouac, about to unleash from Graff, Libertini, Standout and Santa Ana Lane. Nature Strip, 300 metres to go, being nursed by McDonald, still out clear by about 2.5 lengths, but Bivouac is chasing hard now with about 150 metres to go. It's Nature Strip and Bivouac who explodes. Bivouac with a powerful display. Oh, what a spectacular win. Dominant 4 lengths Nature Strip Libertini. They were followed next in the field by Zutori, Haydock and Graff from Tefane, Standout, Santa Ana Lane and Fabergino. What a
win. What a speed machine. Bivouac, well, he loves the straight. He won a Golden Rose and then he scorched down the straight to win a Newmarket. That was as a 3-year-old. He comes back as a 4-year-old. Big, bold and impressive, and absolutely thrashes them. The best sprinters in Australia are here. Bossy shakes his head and says, this guy is the best sprinter in Australia right now. Classique legend's gone. Here's the new king. His name is Bivouac and he's a beauty. And for James making.
Wow, we knew he was good up the straight, but that was something else. You had Fabergino and Nature Strip on opposite ends of the park, eyeballing each other up on top of the speed. And we've come to know Hutchie, Bossy, when he knows he's confident on a horse at the 400-metre mark, you can just see him sitting there looking pretty, having a look around him like it's a Sunday drive in the car. And when he pushed the button, gee, did he explode Bivouac.
Bossy was
in the Darley Sprint Classic yesterday, and to put it in context, Bivouac joins Black Caviar in 2011 and Miss Andretti in 2007 in completing the Newmarket Darley double in the same calendar year. This was spectacular. 3rd in the shorts, 2nd in the Everest, stepped well and then unleashes a 1:08.69 to win his 3rd Group 1 and now has $5.5 million in prize money.
One of the performances of the Spring Carnival, no question. Nature Strip had his chance. He went out, he rolled along. Fabergino was up there. Bossy was absolutely swinging off Bivouac with 300 run. And what I loved was the peak across about 3 times and just working out when he was going to push the button aboard Bivouac. Awesome performance. You love to see this. This was a great field as well, Mike.
But what about the cut into the race from Fabreguino? Like, he just peels off at about the 350, and he was cruising at this stage. He looks left. He sees that Nature Strip is under a little bit of pressure and probably thinks that he's going to run a faster last 200, which he's done before against Nature Strip, and it was just enjoy the ride for the last furlong.
Just in that 100 metres, I mean, I know Nature Strip was stopping, but still he stretched away from the field. That was an incredibly impressive performance. And once again, that Everest form has been very good. And of course, we've got Classique Legend now going to Hong Kong. Bivouac's going to be the leading sprinter in Australia, one would imagine. But I also, in driving in here this morning, I wondered, I think these two will be meeting around the globe, Bivouac and Classique Legend, in different races.
Isn't that something to look forward to, too? And credit to Godolphin for... This horse is an Entire. He's a 4-year-old Entire. He could have gone off to stud this season, but instead it feels like he's going to be racing for another season or more, which is going to be terrific for global racing fans.
An excuse yesterday.
With Bivouac, we know he's now an Entire, as you mentioned, but a 3-time Group 1 winner. When he arrived on court...
wheelhouse.
I think Libertini's going to be a Group 1 winner in time as well. Yeah, maybe at the Sangster in April or May next season. She was well back yesterday. I thought she was terrific late.
I like her fresh too. I think first up she seems to really explode.
And just quickly put a full stop on Nature Strip's spring. That's the best performance we've seen, just simply beaten by a far better horse.
Yeah, I mean, last year he got an easy time that first 200 or 300, and it was a demolition job. But I don't think there were too many excuses yesterday. Maybe he's not quite where he was. Maybe he's had a few little issues. I'm not sure. But look, the way Bivouac won yesterday, and he finished ahead of him, of course, in the Everest as well. I don't think you can deny that Bivouac's at this point in time going better than him.
He did pick up 200.
The Everest form, 1, 2, 3. Bivouac, Nature Strip, Libertini.
Well, it just keeps standing up and delivering this Everest form. But what about this horse? He was just brilliant yesterday. Look at him. What a feeling Bossy must have had here when he just let him go and away he goes. Is he better down the straight? I don't know. Maybe it was just timing, third up to peak. But there's stories, well, there's reports that he might take on the world next year. I'm just listening to James Cummings and whatever. I think whether it's Royal Ascot, whether it's Dubai, but I'm sure, considering, well, he's not going to be able to stud this season, so...
Well, the Dubai Carnival is around...
Quality athletes. We now turn our attention from speed to the mares over 2,000 metres. Here's the market for the Matriarch.
Yeah, Shayloo market's really struggling to work out what's going to be favourite. Shayloo, look, it got out to $5, $5.50 with us throughout the day, but it's back into $4.60 on the quick backup, coming out of a fast...
Going on to win its way into a Melbourne Cup, and Canedna, who went on to win Group 1 races after winning it the year before. Your top 4, Hutch.
I'm with it, fair to remember. I thought she was my good value player of the day, so I'm happy to see her 12 into 8. I think she'll...
I have settled with Parody, and that really just comes down to the fact that I've followed her right the way through this preparation. And
80, but no knock from a market perspective. He probably starts with the 5 in front of it. Outside of that, then you've got 3 or 4 horses really close. Toffee Tongue, Vanna Girl on that quick backup around that $6.50 mark, and She's Ideal obviously backing up as well at the same price. A fair to remember in the last half an hour has probably been the best back runner though. $10, got into $8.50 and now crunched again into $7.50, so positive sign.
And away they go. Vanna Girl jumped really well from Aristia and Graceful Glamour, Parody and In Good Health. Bonvicini behind those horses from Nerve Not Verb, Shalo, one more try, Toffee Tongue, Imelda Mary. Also well back in the field earlier, Fair to Remember. And at the tail is and She's Ideal from Imelda Mary and a Fair to Remember last. So Graceful Glamour heads towards the 850 and quickened up again from In Good Health and Nerve Not Verve. A length away then is Aristia. Further back is Parody, Vanna Girl, Toffee Tongue, Bonvicini. Further back, She's Ideal. Then came Shalo, who just needs a bit of luck now from one more try, Imelda Mary and a Fair to Remember. Up around the corner at the 500, Graceful Glamour has stopped and started them from In Good Health, Nerve Not Verve. Behind those horses then is Aristia, Parody. Now Vanna Girl needs some room. Imelda Mary runs up behind them. Or Vanna Girl badly bailed away with Bonvicini and Toffee Tongue down the middle. Grace Graceful Glamour with Parody now unleashing at the 250. Parody takes the lead from Graceful Glamour. Then Toffee Tongue. Shalo's trying to get out. Affair to Remember late. Parody at the 100 from Toffee Tongue, and Affair to Remember's flying. Parody, Affair to Remember's coming with Toffee Tongue. They go to the line. Nearly a dead heat between Parody or Affair to Remember. Photo and Toffee Tongue third, a wall of them for fourth. We had Aristia with She's Ideal flashing home. One more Tribe on Vicini and Vanagul not beaten far from those from In Good Health. Then Shalo, not sure how much luck she had in the straight either. Nerve Not Verve, Graceful Glamour and Imelda Mary.
She'll get there out wide. Affair to Remember will just put her nose down where it counts most. Parody looked home. Toffee Tongue said, I want a part of it. And right down the outside, Affair to Remember for Dan O'Sullivan and Michael Poy. And there's a photo that they will treasure, especially Michael Poy. He gets a Group 2 win during Cup Week at Flemington. The son of a gun is a group winner at Flemington.
Our esteemed form experts, Hutchison and Ramage, found Affair to Remember for you a couple of days ago, and it certainly got crunched price-wise leading into the Group 2 matriarch for the mares, over 2,000 metres yesterday. Sixth start of the preparation. Ocean X won this at its seventh run of the prep last year. Affair to Remember was really eye-catching at the Valley again on a night where the pattern was well against its profile. It ran the 8th best last 200 on Manikato night and got a much more favourable setup here, but also what a steer from Michael Poy, who, as I said, Friday night after an...
Graceful Glamour's run along at an even tempo, slightly increased at around the 800-metre mark. So it was a fair shape in terms of the pace of the race, but in terms of some of the performances, and there were some hard luck stories. Yeah. Nigel, sorry to draw your attention to Vanagirl.
I'm not watching right now.
And also Shiloh on the back of Vanagirl. Quite unlucky to say the least.
I think the format of this race will stack up really well. There's some nice mares in the race. Toffee Tongue, back to 2,000, ran well. You've got the winner. Shiloh deserves another chance. Vanagirl, excuses. And One More Try was pretty good, and She's Ideal running on late too. Form will be well enough out of this race.
So Affair to Remember and Toffee Tongue ran third and first in the Schweppes Oaks back in the Adelaide Autumn. They reversed that here. Parody as well, another stakes placing, having a really consistent campaign. For this race interview, the scarcity of these types of races, Group 2, mares only 2,000 metres. Is this a programming, whether it's in our Autumn or in other jurisdictions?
It always seems to be a deep race every year, the Matriarch Stakes, and it's probably because of that. It's, it's obviously group status and it's over 2,000 metres restricted to mares. You go back over the last decade.
Look at this, it's Route 1. Here comes the Queen of the Valley. Here comes the Queen of New Zealand racing. Melody Bell
is looking to extract revenge for her unlucky second placing last year in the McKinnon, behind Star Irish mare Magic Wand. Star Perth mare Arcadia Queen was lucky to stay on her feet in the Cox Plate. She was brave as always and looks to bounce back for her third career Group 1 with a new partner, Star.
$2 million up for grabs, over 150 years of tradition, and now the horses are coming into the yard for the McKinnon Stakes. What a ripper it's going to be.
Back a horse, and before Mugger 2 came out, around 15-cent deduction for that horse for those other selections. But Arcadia Queen is the favourite. Look, she was heavily supported even throughout before Mugger 2 came out. $4
I'm really keen on Arcadia Queen. She gets a great chance, I think, under these conditions. There's a little query.
She's come back to Australia in outstanding order. She might be carrying a little bit more condition than what she was this time last year, but that does happen to horses as they get...
Half an hour at that $2.50 quote. Not much bigger on the exchange, so you're not going to get any bigger than that, really, with Arcadia Queen. Melody Bell spoke about it in the last cross, probably in the last 15 minutes, just staying really warm in the market. So if you like her, it's a positive.
And they're racing. Pretty good line. Melody Bell clearly the best out with Dalasan and Shout the Bar. Booting up on the inside, Harlem not far away with Dalasan, Mr. Quickie. So there's almost 6 across the track in the first 250 metres. Who wants to lead here? Skywood's also pushing on. Heading towards the mile. It's Skywood looking to cross from Melody. Shout the Bar still off the rails. Skywood's keeping it working as they reach the 1200. Melody Bell is right behind those horses, a length and a half away third. 3/4 Harlem, then Dalasan. Further back, 50 Stars, Mirage Dancer, Mr. Quickie and Arcadia Queen now. 3 wide on the back of 50 Stars. Through halfway, the leader is Shout the Bar by about 2 or 3 lengths, and quick and mid-race there from Skywood. Melody Bell third, Harlem, then 50 Stars, a length Dalasan. It's been a shuffly type of race. Mirage Dancer the inside, Arcadia Queen's back and wide, and Mr. Quickie last. Approaching the turn, 600 metres to go. Shout the Bar looking for 2 Group 1s in a week, edging off the inside running rail. Most of the field do. 2 lengths Skywood. Melody Bell presents the outside, followed further back by Harlem, then 50 Stars. Arcadia Queen is also tanking into it. Shout the Bar went for home early in the straight at the 300. 2 lengths Melody Bell, 50 Stars. Arcadia Queen running on. Shout the Bar tiring. 50 Stars. Arcadia Queen launching, then Melody Bell. They've got to Shout the Bar. Arcadia Queen from last takes the lead. Coming clear. She is the belle of the ball today. Arcadia Queen, 2 lengths. Second, 50 Stars from Melody Bell. And fourth in the race, Shout the Bar from Harlem, Mr. Quickie, Dalasan, Mirage Dancer, Skywood last.
She is the queen of Australian racing at the moment. Arcadia Queen, the pride of the West, the belle of the ball as described by Matt Hill. For Grand and Alana Williams, they win another Group 1 with her. This Piero mare, well, once it became a sit and sprint, you knew that she had the best sprint. And she came over the top to defeat 50 Stars, who was terrific. The pride and...
She was in the Cox Plate. I thought it was a terrific performance, but I think on top of the ground, she is incredibly good. It was still a big win. It was a pedestrian tempo. They had gone into a sprint home, but you've got to reel in the likes of Melody Bell and 50 Stars. They're proven Group 1 performers who can sprint. So, yes, she's reeled them in, but it's the way in which she's reeled them in. She's gathered them in probably within 150 metres and come away to win pretty easily in the end.
Credit to 50.
And reflect on Arcadia Queen's wonderful victory in the McKinnon. Hutch, 5th in the Cox Plate. Magic Wand ran 4th in that race last year before winning the McKinnon. And Willie Pike handed the baton to Luke Curry during the week and said, simply, you're probably going to be on the best horse, ride it accordingly, roll with the punches.
Coverage that clearly on a good track. She looks like our premier 2,000 metre weight for age performer. And I suppose it's pretty hard to argue, Mike. She was just electric, fast or slow, it doesn't matter. It's the ground that's the key.
The ground is the key. She's now 8 from 12 on good ground. We saw that when she won the Caulfield Stakes 2 starts back. She gave Russian Camelot a start and won comfortably. Arguably unlucky, got the soft ground in the Cox Plate. But yesterday, you know, she had this race in control a long way out, and when Matty Hill said at the top of the straight, she tanks up alongside them. She was doing absolutely that. She just had to let down with that sprint that we know she's got. On the flip side, Melody Bell probably just needed a touch more give in the ground, and she might have been ultra competitive. And, you know, 50 Stars, I thought he was really brave. He was wide most of the way and gave Arcadia Queen the cart into the race from about the 1,000 metres. So, a fantastic race.
Arcadia Queen is also tanking into it. Shout the Bar went for home early in the straight at the 300. 2 lengths Melody Bell, 50 Stars. Arcadia Queen running on. Shout the Bar tiring. 50 Stars. Arcadia Queen launching, then Melody Bell. They've got to Shout the Bar. Arcadia Queen from last takes the lead. Coming clear. She is the belle of the ball today. Arcadia Queen, 2 lengths. Second, 50 Stars from Melody Bell.
Okay, so she's a gun. Crossing the line, reflected on last year's tilt at the Everest. It feels like it was a bit of a missed opportunity in her CV, that the prep she's just had is the prep she perhaps should have also had 12 months ago.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it was a little bit, made you sort of look and think, Everest? I know it's an attractive race with the prize money, but yeah, I mean, she's this is her go. I think she could win a good mile, a top-line mile race early in her prep, but 2,000 metres, good track. Melody Bell, I just wonder if being a little bit... just looking at her run, she'd had a soft run. I wonder if he pushes the button a bit early, if it might have been a more interesting race, because...
Wow, what a segue.
She didn't quite do that, but gee whiz, she got a Caulfield Stakes and now a McKinnon Stakes. Arcadia Queen.
Yeah, well, what a ripper she is. You know, she's had issues all the way through. Obviously, she's had feet issues in Melbourne, and Grant and Alana, you've got to just give them a rap, surely. The way they've handled her, and she's delicate, and it's not just bad feet that she's had.
Yeah, I think she strikes me as one of those. She's
an angry
difficult. Yeah, she's difficult. She's not just delicate.
Lizzie, talk to me about her, because I was watching her go to the
occasion. I think we can safely say her best trip is 2,000 metres. She's able to relax, and her turn of speed over that trip is of a Group 1 horse, one of the best people.
She has to be in a bonnet as well.
Yeah, the Good Very Elegant and the Good Arcadia Queen would be a great match over 2,000 metres.
For sure.
Who made a big impression in winning at Randwick on debut. I reckon he's about the best two-year-old we've seen, amongst the males anyway, and he did overcome a start here.
So Captivant's the favourite, 330, 350 into 310 now on the NOP, and Hunnam is attracting good interest. Brass continues to firm this debutant, number 7, $6 into 440.
Yeah, big.
Let's get up to Darren Flindell for the call of this $1 million race here at Rosehill Gardens, which completes, by the way, 9... So let's get up to Darren for race 6, the Golden Gift.
Debut often racing, and a good line. Sneaky 5, Athelric and Ghost Rider have all jumped well, and Mura's right there as well. Right behind them, Churda from Hodgson, then came Hunnam. The favourite Captive on second last, and Head of State taken back from the wide draw. Mura showing good master here. Goes through to head off Ghost Rider, and Athelric caught 3 deep in third. Then came Sneaky 5. On the inside, it's Mura, a length clear from Ghost Rider approaching the turn. Sneaky 5 on the inside of Athelric. They're followed further back then by Churda from Hodgson, Head of State, and the two favourites are getting to the outside, Hunnam and also Captivant down to the 350, and Mura with a good kick, skips 2.5 clear. Sneaky 5 to second from Ghost Rider, and then came Churda. The favourites have got lots of work to do. Mura inside the furlong, just in front. Sneaky 5 looms, then came Churda. Head of State, Captivant wide out. Sneaky 5 moves through the centre. Sneaky 5 takes the lead from Churda, and Sneaky 5 won the Golden Gift from Churda. Photo for third, Mura and Captivant wide out. Head of State hit the line well. Then Ghost Rider from Hodgson, further back to Athelric, and they put a fortune there on Hunnam, but he wasn't up to it on debut.
Sneaky 5, number 8. Well, they were a dominant stable with the youngsters last season. The Mar Eustace Yard. Sneaky 5, them a winner, a filly by Fastnet Rock out of a Canny Lad mare. Rosemont
last week when he was surged there late. Gerda was good. Mura showed speed and just wandered back to the inside.
To building up that bank. The Mar Eustace Yard, they had such an incredible 2-year-old season last year. They're at it again with Sneaky 5.
Yeah, and the year before as well. So they're really making their mark, you know, as getting these 2-year-olds up and running. And this filly, you know, look, she's not really meant to run it to. Her mother was an Oaks winner, so she is brilliant doing what she's doing at this stage. You know, could well turn into a Guineas type at 3 with looking at her pedigree. Fastnet Rock out of an Oaks winner, and she was terrific. And we were doubting a little bit that form.
Highland Race Colours Hot Danish Stakes for fillies and mares over 1,400 metres is next with Greg Radley.
Hunter winner Savatiano, number 1, Jason Collett, James Cummings.
Yeah, 5 weeks and a lovely tick-over trial.
Going to run a solid race.
Down. 260 out to 290, Savatiano. Positive.
And the gates open, they're off. Positive Peace and Savatiano, the first 2 out. Arathea being scrubbed up on the inside, trying to hold them out early. And the pace is very good. They've opened up a margin of 5 lengths on Jen Rules, Wonderbar. And Tricky's worked awfully hard here, Arathea, but she got her own way in the end. And at the 800 metres, Arathea held out Savatiano by 3/4. 2 off to Positive Peace, 2 off to Wonderbar, a half Jen Rules. And Tricky Gull is the last one. Approaching the turn, Arathea in front by a half length on Savatiano. Positive Peace 2 lengths away. Wonderbar holding the inside. General's been pushed along now. And Tricky Gallas last of all. Arathea being shown the persuader at the top of the straight. Leads by a length and a half on Savatiano. He still travels. Arathea the inside of Savatiano. 3 lengths clear from Positive Peace. Savatiano lays it down to Arathea. Tricky Gal's running on well from back in the field. But Savatiano's drawn 3 lengths clear from Tricky Gull, running home into second, but Savatiano in front. Savatiano from Tricky Gull, and Savatiano, a hard-fought victory, wins the Hot Danish a half length to Tricky Gull. Positive Peace third, Wonderbar fourth, Irathea dropped out, and Jen Rules was back last of all.
They didn't make it easy for Savatiano, or at least Irathea didn't.
Positive Peace had her chance. She sat behind them. Wonderbar, that's probably, she may have just had enough now at the end of a
freshen up. 5 weeks between runs. This time last year, she was being set for the Hunter at Newcastle, where they've picked up the Group 2 Hot Danish and a big prize money cheque.
And she really showed her class here, because I thought it looked a bit funny for her on the map. And as far as the 2 stablemates with the Baker pair were the ones with the speed in this race, and that's a Positive Peace and Irathea. And I thought, oh, she's got to do a bit of work, and she did the work, because he was very positive, I think, under instructions to be positive, Collett, and she burned a bit of petrol early. Then they sort of slackened it off a little bit, but to do it both ends like that, I think was just showed her class and her quality, and how she'd freshened up, because there's an indication that she'd come to the end of it in Melbourne. But they brought her back a month off, a little soft trial, and she really delivered there. I thought she was outstanding. What can you say?
So expect this horse to roll forward. It might be harder to run down. The market's suggesting it's going to run much better than he has previously. Camel Pass, your favourite, $3.30, but continuing to drift.
The jockeys signal from behind, and they're racing. Pretty good line too. Wild Vixen, Camel Passer beat them out from Streets of Avalon, and also Music Bay. Out wide, Order of Command trying to find a position. Camel Passer led Streets of Avalon after 250. Music Bay the speed about 4 or 5. Camel Passer in front, controlling the speed at the moment at the 750 from Streets of Avalon, and Blazejowski out wider. Then came Wild Vixen, then Music Bay. Order of Command's got the tag on the back of Blazejowski in neighbourhood at the end. Camel Passer held together down Corrigan Dip. At the 500 led a half, Streets of Avalon. Then Blazejowski about to show its hand from Wild Vixen, Music Bay. Order of Command running on, and then neighbourhood. It's Camel Passer at the 250. Hands and heels from Williams by a length. Streets of Avalon, Order of Command, and then neighbourhood late. Camel Passer at the 150, followed by Order of Command. Streets of Avalon, neighbourhood. Still Camel Passer in front, 3/4, and will win again. Camel Passer from Order of Command, photo third, neighbourhood or Streets of Avalon from Music Bay, Wild Vixen, and Blazejowski last.
Oh, he's just a beauty, this horse, Camel Passer. He makes it back-to-back wins. He wins the Lynn Lithgow and now the Kevin Heffernan. He got out to $3 on the tote, $3 and $1.80. He was the favourite from the moment the markets opened on Wednesday night, and Craig Williams was able to control the tempo. Order of Command runs second. He's running really well.
Streets of Avalon didn't really want to apply too much pressure, and from that point in time, Craig Williams just controlled the race from the outset. It was just...
We've seen him turn up at the races. He goes...
In Buffalo River, will they just continue to drift? Now Buffalo out to... Kenya now out to $3.10. Buffalo River at that $3.90, I think he's going to start with the 4 in front. He's just going to continue to drift. So those top 2, the market's taking a set coming out of fast-run races. They think they might struggle off that 2-week gap. Usually the market prefers a 3-week or a month gap. Big support for...
Fascinating renewal. They're locked up. Gates are back and racing. Beautiful line 2 towards the outer. Kenya's going to push on with Buffalo River. Juniper, they're feeling their way early. Iconoclasm boots up the inside. Galaxy Raiders nice and close in 5th. Then Harapur and Mr. Exclusive. Wasn't helter-skelter early. Kenya's just trying to stroll across, and at the 1,200 metres quicker now to lead, and getting up on the steel by 2. Mr. Exclusive last. Through halfway, it's Kenya wants to go and led by a length and a half. 2nd, Buffalo River. 3rd, Iconoclasm. 4th, Juniper. 3 lengths, Galaxy Raider, Mr. Exclusive. Harapur is at the tail. So now Kenya really gets it going as they reach Corrigan Dip at the 550, stoked up and led by 2.5. Buffalo River, Iconoclasm. Juniper to the outside, a gap, Galaxy Raider. Kenya trying to break their hearts at the 350. McNeil goes for the whip, led by 2. Buffalo River. Juniper's the threat, then Iconoclasm. It's Kenya putting in shorter strides. Juniper moves up, then Buffalo River, a gap, Galaxy Raider. Juniper up to Kenya. Juniper put a half, Kenya 3/4 now a length, and Juniper punched out, wins it. Juniper from Kenya, Buffalo River, then Galaxy Raider 4th. Further back, Iconoclasm, a gap, Mr. Exclusive, and Harapur last of the 7.
He's just a beauty, Junipal. The 4 weeks between runs was the key. They freshen him up. They start again for another campaign after he was so good earlier on in this campaign. Kenya runs second.
They know, like at Flemington last time, drew an inside gate. She is the favourite at 2.30 from an outside gate. You'd like to think she will be able to blend into the race.
Probably 10 minutes ago, we're now out to $2.50, and I think that's going to continue to drift. Alibor in the last 5 minutes just firmed up, got to $4.60, now back into $4, so good support.
The Ladbroke Sandown Guineas at Group 2. Stalls are back and they're racing another beautiful line. Who wants to lead here? Valinetti shows out with Rafael and Captain Canuck, and Tulamo out wide is also pushing up. Rafael led narrowly from Tulamo 3 deep. Captain Canuck the centre after 200. Wait Reply gives them a start. Off the back section now with 900 metres to go. And the leader is Rafael, steadied by a half-length Captain Canuck through halfway. 2 lengths away, Tulamo getting a lovely run third. 2.5 lengths away in fourth is Valinetti. Then Furioso Alibor, horrifying second. Last week Reply at the back. Approaching the corner, 600 to go. It's Rafael by a long neck to Captain Canuck. 2 lengths Tulamo, then Valinetti. Next Alibor tapped along Furioso, horrifying. Sweet Reply still last. Down the dip at the 400 metres, it's Rafael the bolter. 2 lengths in front of Captain Canuck, giving strong chase now on the outside. It's Rafael giving a slap with the Persuader. Joined now and headed by Valinetti, who swept up Alibor, and now Sweet Reply from the back is storming home. Valinetti at the 200. Alibor lifting and Sweet Reply. Sweet Reply moves up with Alibor. Stride for stride, the filly Sweet Reply and Alibor. Head bobbing, going the Guineas, they hit it photo. Alibor may have just won from Sweet Reply. Valinetti third, then Furioso next in the field. Horrifying, Tulamo, Rafael and Captain Canuck got tired and finished at the tail of the field.
Thrilling finish. I think Alibor will get it on the inside. Alibor will. The colt defeats the filly. Alibor and Sweet Reply. The gelding beats the filly. And Alibor blinkers on. $4.50 and $1.40 defeats Sweet Reply. Valinetti runs third. Furioso in for fourth. 4, 8, 9 and 5. It was a big gap between the...
In the market with Bet365 at $4.60. Just holding on is Avilius at $3.20. We're only 11 minutes out from the Group 2 Zipping Classic. And if you're betting...
Or 2 hours ago, but now just out to that $3.20 mark, and there's no real knock from a market perspective. It might get bigger as we get closer to the jump, but that's not a real bad push against him. Sound and Future Score, they're the two that have drifted. 4 out to $4.80 and Future Score $4.80 out.
Set, and they're racing. Pretty good line. Scarlet Dream goes back to the end. Lavendi jumped well with Lord Belvedere. Future Score. Brimham Rocks out wider is also looking for a position. So Lavendi will lead from Lord Belvedere. Not a lot of pressure early. Brimham Rocks is going to saunter up and sit outside the speed. One off the fence, Future Score lobs in fourth, and they were followed by Sound, Avilius, Attorney and Scandi is dictating here at no speed whatsoever by a half length to Brimham Rocks. Then Future Score. Now Sound's getting going. Car's not happy with the speed, so she moves up 3 wide and third at the 1400. Future Score fourth, the outer of Lord Belvedere, followed by Avilius, who's well and truly off the rails, one off now, spotting the speed about 7. Second last on the fence, Attorney. Scarlet Dream last at the 900. The leader, Lavendi, 3/4 of a length to Sound, and they're 2.5 to Brimham Rocks. A length and a half fourth is Future Score. Then came Lord Belvedere as they run off the back section at the 700 metres. Avilius third last, and then came on the inside Attorney, needing some luck, and at the back of the field Scarlet Dream. So Lavendi led Sound on the point of the turn at the 550 from Brimham Rocks as they quicken it. Then Future Score presenting, followed by Lord Belvedere. Avilius still with a bit to do. It's Lavendi scampering down the dip. Sound moves up the outside and they set 2 by 2.5. Brimham Rocks, Future Score, Avilius to the outside. Then came Attorney in a dash to the post in the Zipping Classic. Sound at the 200 takes the lead from Lavendi. Brimham Rocks, Attorney is running on, then Avilius, but Sound darts away. Sound is clear, and Sound is going to win the Zipping Classic in a sprint home beat. Brimham Rocks and Future Score. Photo for 4, Attorney or Avilius, and then Scarlet Dream, Lavendi second last, and Lord Belvedere knocked up to finish last.
By G deserved that, and a great ride by Jamie Carr. Realised they were just going too slow. She had to inject some speed into the race. and then they started to pick up that tempo, and she was the beneficiary because Sound ended up having a beautiful run right there on speed and was just simply too strong. Brimham Rocks, second, Future Score and Attorney, both run really well. 4-3.
Barry's a little bit of a question mark, but, you know, other than that, I can't fault him.
You're happy enough with him?
Yeah, I think he'll run a blinder.
Well, there's Mitch Beer with redouble, and he's trying to go one better in the Hunter after running second in the Kosciuszko. This mounting out brought to you. They are there to help. The big one of the day, it's worth $1 million. It's the Tab Hunter, and number one leading them.
For the running of the $1 million Tab Hunter, and the gates crash back. They're off and racing, and special reward anticipated the start well. Sweet Deal and Sonore Fox, Handy and Cuba's pushing forward, and Chief Ironside's having a bite for the lead as well. Galwar on the improvement advance of Rainier. They're followed then by Asiago about midfield in the red cap. Further back, Tactical Advantage. Redouble's got the last one. Down the side, and it's special reward in front, holding Cuba out by a half length. Out on the outside is Galwar third. Sonore Fox gets a good run behind. Chief Ironside fifth on the inside of Rainier. A length and a half to Sweet Deal. There's a fair way off the pace. Then came Asiago from Tactical Advantage. Trumbull out 3 wide from Redouble. Then Eldorado, Dreaming, Fiesta, Evelina, and Brave Songs last of all. Top of the straight now. And Cuba lays it down to special reward, stride for stride. Sweet Deal's running on the fence on the inside of Sonore Fox. Then came Galwar. Asiago's winding up with a big run on the outside. But special reward still in front. Sweet Deal's coming off heels to challenge, and on the outside is Asiago. Sweet Deal lays it down to special reward, and Sweet Deal goes home best in the Tab Hunter to beat special reward and Asiago. Tactical Advantage fourth, followed by Evelina. Then came Galwar from Rainier. Fiesta, Brave Song, Trumbull didn't close it off. Cuba weakened out from Sonore Fox as well. Then Chief Ironside, Eldorado, Dreaming, and Redouble.
She loves Newcastle, Sweet Deal. She's had now 4 starts for 2 wins and 2 seconds. And she becomes a millionaire.
Tibby, yes, having won the Tibby. Yeah, she's a beauty. She's just a star. Back to the dry. She certainly loves it dry, and she does love to take a sit. And that's been the problem. She's found herself in situations where she's had to lead, where she still races well, but when she relaxes off a speed like just off the speed like this, boy, she can dart. And you know they did dart home. 33.3 is as quick as of anything pretty well all day. So it made it hard for the back markers. Special reward had a nice on-pace run. He's run a much improved race there. Asiago, I thought she was looming to win. She might be one that could back up next week and go to a mile, considering she was back from a mile here.
Yeah, I think she is going that way.
Do you think she's going that way? Yep. Evelina, they went too slow for her. She made good ground on the...
For the big one at Kembla Grange, the Gong, worth $1 million, over a mile, 16 to line up, no scratchings.
Keymasters run third. All right, here comes the feature from Kembla, the $1 million the Gong, won last year by McDonald and Waller and Mr. Seawolf Brass, and they're back to defend their crown.
That is certainly the case, and why wouldn't he be there? He is absolutely flying.
So back, they're off and racing. No speed by Cascadia, nor Natoya, and Dawn Passage jump well. Purple Sector, Archidemus pushing forward, and Positive Peace as well. So there's 4 having a crack for the lead. Think It Over, Asiago next, and Mr. Seawolf getting a great run right along the rails. Then came Reloaded from Almeida, and Almahaha find their positions, and Positive Peace draws to the front by a length and a half, and Archidemus, and the pace is a cracker. Falling away, Purple Sector third, then Dawn Passage, Mr. Seawolf. Further back to Think It Over from Reloaded, and Asiago and the red cap right off the course. Further back to Cascadian from Olmedo. Almahaha out 3 and 4 wide. Then came Best of Days from Rock Brandenburg. Bottega and Natoya are the last 2. These 2 leaders are still at it up front. It's Positive Peace and Archidemus ripping along at the 600 metres. Purple Sector keeping his powder dry at the moment in third, followed by Dawn Passage who gets going. Think It Over deeper out. Then Mr. Seawolf creeping through on the inside of Reloaded, and Asiago heads the rest down to the 350, and Archidemus beat off Positive Peace. Dawn Passage called upon. Purple Sector under the stick. Then came Think It Over. Further back to Reloaded and Cascadian. Right down the outside is Brandenburg. 150 out. It's Archidemus and Dawn Passage slogging it out. Archidemus kicking. Dawn Passage trying. Archidemus keeps kicking. It's Archidemus just for the gong. He fended off Dawn Passage to win it. Think It Over running third, followed up by Reloaded. Then came Cascadian, Brandenburg, Purple Sector, Mr. Seawolf, Best of Days, Almahaha. Further back to Bottega, Positive Peace drifted out from Rock. Then came Almedo, and Natoya was one of the last to finish.
Number 13, Archidemus. This used to be his home track when he was trained.
He was a rat bag in the yard. Everything you didn't want to see he did, and he just flew out. Typical Team Hawks timing for the big event, I must say. Just had the horse perfectly right for the day, and he just kept running. Yep. And he ran fast times and sprinted home. So I think he's left them with no excuses there. Obviously, Dawn Passage loomed up to win, and I would have thought had his chance, and maybe just not.
Stakes Day is probably up his alley again.
And he is a former Carbine Club Stakes winner himself. Uni Time out to $7 now. The Group 1 winning mare KC.
Off 21 days today. She's raced 3 weeks between runs once before for a win. She's the best weighted horse out of the Group 3 Northerly, going from set weights and penalties to weight for age today. She gets 2 kilos. 1, 10, 4 and 5 Scots. Kementari, 110 rater, who's contested Group 1 events at 14 of his past 20.
Racing. Taxagano first to hop out of the gates. Great shot burning across. Headed him though with Red Can Man. Laver Rod quickly going up there into the firing line after the break. The 3-year-old's going to tuck just behind those. Gemma's Son. Then Kementari, Uni Time, followed by Platoon and the stablemate KC with Freytreed. From last, the tail end of Free Trade. 500 metres left to go, and the Lustia nearing the corner. Great shot. He'll bring them for home. Here comes Red Can Man, though, with his run. Red Can Man loomed up to a great shot. They've kicked a length and a half. Laver Rod, Kementari, followed further back by Gemma's Son, and KC headed the remainder, but she's starting to finish full of running. Red Can Man strikes the lead down past the 150. Here comes KC and Kementari together, but it's KC. KC ranges up. Put paid to Red Can Man, and she's back quickly to win the Lustia Stakes. KC over Red Can Man. Behind them, Kementari or Gemma's Son, who powered to the line late. Uni Time behind those. Taxagano, great shot. Arctic Stream, Platoon, and destroyed her rivals in the Lustia. Stephen Parnham aboard.
2020, we are counting down. William Pike, Bogdan and Sandra Peters, Grant and Alana Williams. Can they make this 3 years in a row? The market says they can.
The Galaxy staff too.
Kieran Railway Stakes, where it is Inspirational Girl that leads the market here, Scott.
$3.30 fixed odds at the moment with Tab Touch Grid over here in the west, so $3.40 into $3.30. $5 Too Close to the Sun, $6.50 KC, $8.50 to get as close as she did when she finished second, beaten a short half head, and then third when she was 56 days between runs, beaten under a length by Patristic. She's an absolute marvel, this mare. Is there a case?
Ready, racing. Great shot, jump well, Taxagano, Red Can Man, the mare Dance Music, spearing across now through the first 150. Too Close the Sun, bustled forward with Galo Chop, truly great. He's out there wide from Material Man, and Kementari trying to hold up in the first half. A length and a half to KC, getting back shortly after the start, then Taxagano within here in the railway. Great shot. Of course, the winner in 2017, stacked them up in front from Dance Music, running third, Galo Chop a little wide. Over on the inside, getting the run of the race, Red Can Man from Too Close to the Sun. It's nice and handy at the 800. 3/4 of a length away, then came on the outside, Truly Great with Kementari in on the rail. Back behind those, then a length away, Material Man, followed by Missile Launch. Brown starting to dig up KC. She's on the outside of Inspirational Girl, looking for a bit of room nearing the turn. Hemmed away on the fence, Taxagano, followed further back by Platoon, then Cup Night, Uni Time and Spiritual Warrior. At the 400, they turn for home. Great shot joined by Dance Music, and Too Close the Sun got them all. Too Close the Sun hit the front. Now McGruddy gets around their heels with Red Can Man. Material Man, Kementari working his way through, and here comes Inspirational Girl. She's starting to thread her way through the field. Inspirational Girl, Pike under hands and heels, ranges up, grabs the lead. It's a winning hat-trick for the Wizard, and goes home Inspirational Girl. Uni Time from last. There's a run down the outside, probably second from Too Close the Sun. Cup Night, Material Man and Red Can Man from Platoon. Truly Great, then Kementari, Taxagano, KC. In behind those, the tiring Great Shot, Spiritual Warrior, Missile Launch. Further back behind them to Dance Music. And last to greet the judge in the railway of 2020, Galo Chop. Inspirational Girl has given the Cerise and White a third straight victory in the railway. Bob Peters, Team Williams, and the wizardry of W. Pike. Back, she joins Regal Power, Galaxy Star. Just like we are at Wembley. The chant for Pike. I've never heard anything quite like it. But that's exactly what's happening here today, and we'll come back. We'll go to Brittany because she's right down there at the moment. What a proud day it is for... Have a listen to the crowd erupting here for arguably the best we've ever seen. We've ever seen. W. Pike back from Victoria and about to bring inspiration.
It's well going for us, so the family's building and it feels like she's one of ours.
What was going through your mind coming to the call?
Great call again, Darren, but that lifts a race caller when the local hero gets the money in a great ride like that. The scenes were one to remember there yesterday.
They most certainly were, Greg. It was extraordinary. I've been going for 40 years, I suppose, and I've never seen a scene where the general public started to chant the name of the jockey, and it started off and it just build and build after the race, and then it all of a sudden transcended into the grandstand, and before you know it, you had half of the race course almost like being at Wembley, where they would chant Frank Tree's record of the most number of wins in the race, and an unprecedented 5 for Bob Peters, of course. And don't forget, Team Williams have now prepared 4 railway stakes. It's just an extraordinary chapter in the history of racing in this state.
And what about the ride, Darren? We're looking at Pike at his best here. It was a typical Pike ride.
Yeah, it was, absolutely. We've seen him over she's now won 9 out of 11, and conceivably she should be 11 for 11, but for those 2 narrow defeats. I mean, she really, I think, should have an unblemished record. Exciting horse, one that Bob Peters didn't...
Oh, they love him. And look at this, $3.50 in the Kingston Town Classic, 2 weeks away. There's the rest of the field. We'll talk more...
On course. Well, that is what racing is all about. Having a look at a horse like Rock Magic, the longevity of... Well, that is what racing is all about. Having a look at a horse...
Great, he's ready to go trekking. No matter how you look at his form, it is very, very good, and if not superior to what we produce over here. First up...
Racing in the Winterbottom, and the first of them to get going from towards the inside. Indian Pacific jump quickly, driving up on the inside soon after. Durandal, Rock Magic. Now going forward, Condor Heroes, but he won't get to the lead cheaply. Red Can Man's going up there with Vital Silver as well. Then Durandal, Rock Magic, Elite Street. Ryder losing the cloth, part of his cap early on in the race from Valor Road, getting back with Malibu Style, then trekking. Over on the inside next is Stage Man, Mankind trapped out there wide, and the last trio, Celebrity Queen back there with Flirtini. Last of all is Essential Spice as they gallop on by the 550. Condor Heroes eventually worked his way to the lead, but he hasn't opened up the field. At the 450, Condor Heroes brings them around the turn from Vital Silver, just trying to hold Indian Pacific in. They brush tight together coming into the home corner. Durandal gets a run on their inside. Then Red Can Man followed by Elite Street, trekking still well back but coming around heels. Here comes Elite Street. It's Elite Street on the outside. Going with him now is Rock Magic. Rock Magic and Elite Street into the clear. Rattling home Celebrity Queen. Elite Street though. It's Elite Street home in the Winterbottom from Celebrity Queen. Rock Magic or trekking for third. Flirtini from Wellback charging to the line. Right behind them Stage Man, Malibu Style, Red Can Man, Valor Road, Mankind. They were followed by Indian Pacific, then Durandal, Vital Silver, Essential Spice, and dropping out Condor Heroes, the last of them home in the Winterbottom of 2020. Well, what a quantum leap it is forward for Elite Street. Elite Street, ridden by Brad Rawiller, the very first time in his career, and he makes it win 5 from 8. He was a wild card, he was the intriguing runner going forward, and has produced that trademark finishing burst.
Stand stakes and countless other races in Victoria. Let's have a look at the replay though as they come around the home corner. You can see that Brad has lost the cap Early on in the race, he starts his run with the old 11-year-old. Now, there's a story within itself, old Rock Magic there. What a run by him, who fleetingly looked a chance. And then, of course, Chrissy Parnham, who had an association with Elite Street, working the mare through the field, and she was scything her way home, just missing and picking up Elite Street. Great finish there. First of all, the progression of this horse, as you say, in effect, it should be 6 straight. He did lose a race on disqualification with a very low level of metabolite of heptaminol, which Dan copped a fine for some months ago. But he should really have won 6 straight now, Elite Street. There were good judges that went in.
Was William Pike 2 weeks ago winning the Railway Stakes. Can he do it again in the Kingston Town? That is the question, Scott. The market seems to think so. The barrier probably diminished the chances slightly at the beginning of the week, but in saying that, the market didn't take. Truly Great is the 11, the first of the Cerise and White Gallopers, Grant and Alana Williams.
First half of the field, and he travels so well. He's a bit like Rock Magic, Britt, in the sense that when you watch in the run, there's only one horse you want to be on at the 1,000-metre marker, because Truly Great will be marching.
Inspirational Girl, she's into the red, $1.95 on the WOP now. William Pike takes the ride.
Can't wait to hear this chant and this roar if William Pike can get Inspirational Girl home, Britt. The other thing I can't wait to see is the tactics on Inspirational Girl. What does William Pike...
They look good. Good line. They're racing in the Kingston Town. And the first of them away, Cup Night Arctic Stream. Galo Chop pressing forward. The fillies up there. Watch Me Dance in front of Gemma's Son. Coming over now, too close. The Sun. Trap for Fools won't get anywhere near them. He'll be back near enough to last as they get going. And Galo Chop is going to lead them again in the Kingston Town early. Chop slows them down. He gets a breather mid-race. About 3/4 on, too close. The Sun. Watch Me Dance getting a gun run. Taxagano covering ground in the middle there, beautifully placed. The other of the 3-year-olds, Dom to Shoot. Truly Great around the outside, being followed by Cup Night, the fence. Unitime trapped out there very wide. Going up in front of Nerf Boss, Arctic Stream, KC, Platoon, Missile Launch. Then Inspirational Girl and Trap for Fools is last. Inside the 550, Galo Chop will lead them for home. Too close, the Sun, within about 3/4 of him on the home turn. Watch Me Dance with McGruddy heeling her along, coming into the corner. Also being asked the big question, Dom to Shoot. Cup Night's on the rail. Down the outside, Truly Great. Galo Chop with a kick. 250 to go. Galo Chop down the outside. Truly Great, though. He's quickly cut them down. Truly Great. They headed past the 100. Truly Great surges clear. Inspirational Girl running home powerfully, but it's all in vain, and Truly Great wins the Kingston Town Classic from Inspirational Girl. It's a Cerise and White Quinella. Behind those then, third probably Dom to Shoot from Platoon, Galo Chop, who got tired late. Then KC, Gemma's Son, too close, the Sun at the head of the others. Arctic Stream, Taxagano and Unitime. Watch Me Dance. She didn't come on in the straight. Trap for Fools, never likely. Nerf Boss well back with Cup Night and Missile Launch. Truly Great. Ridden by Chris Parnham. A big race-to-race double for Chris. And he is as ecstatic as I've ever seen. There's a signal there. And that is, as an emotional winning rider,